first sip.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so we're live here. Welcome to the First Sip Podcast, the official podcast of the Beer Nation. Here with my hosts, Ruben, Joel, Allie, and myself, Chris. This is our first podcast of the First Sip. And so, this is not just any kind of beer podcast. The idea is we have... we all know each other through bottle shares, and so the idea is this is kind of takes the setting of a bottle share where we're definitely drinking beers, talking about beers, a beer centric podcast, but doesn't really limit us to just kind of staying there. So that's going to be kind of the idea of the show, and we'll kind of get into here. First thing, just want to kind of introduce the different hosts here. So we'll go around the table. We'll start with Ruben over here. Why don't you tell us a little bit? You get to know our voices here.
I'm Ruben. Been drinking beer for a long time. I'm 30, so I've only been doing it legally for 9 years. I enjoy drinking beer. My favorite style, I would probably say, is a West Coast IPA. Hopefully it comes back. Death to Haze. Pass it on to Allie.
Hi, I'm Allie. I'm happily married to Chris, the handsome host.
Happily.
For now, we'll see how this podcast goes.
We've been married for 3 years, but together for a while, and we actually kind of got into craft beer together. At least Chris got me more into it back in 2014. I think we got more serious.
Crack that shit, dude.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I want to hear that. You know what I mean? This way people know we're drinking. Sorry.
They're going to know.
It's okay. And yeah, I just started with lighter stuff and got into IPAs and just kind of went from there. And now we love everything.
And then Joel, why don't you go ahead and since he's joining us. I mean, if you're watching or listening to this, he's joining us remotely just to give you set the scene. Maybe
But
he
may
never
not even be a real person.
Yeah, he could be. It could be
that's
some
right.
like AI.
What's up, everybody? My name is Joel. Yes, I'm the California transplant who came from Ohio by way of Texas. I've been living out here for 9 years, and that's pretty much moving here was what coincided with my little craft beer renaissance in my own world. And I like everything. I'll try it all. Give it to me.
And
met these fine gentlemen since moving out here, obviously, and became fast friends.
Cheers.
Shocking revelation last night. He's like one of the few people I know that enjoys Rausch beers.
Yeah, I know, right? We damn near kicked him off the show just for
I'll
on
take
principle.
'em. I'll
On
take 'em.
principle alone.
I was just shocked. I was just
Yeah.
like, if you want to lick an ashtray, like, we could do that. We could
exactly.
do that.
We could
Just
save
throw
you.
it-
We could save you the expense.
We could throw a little bit of water in there, mix it up.
I want all the Schlenklerna, however you pronounce it, that famous rock beer. I want
Sounds like
it.
you're hawking a loogie, dude. And then last, my name's Chris, and I've been like everybody else here. I've been in the craft beer for quite a while now. I've been a home brewer for almost 7 years, and just within probably like in 2017 and I feel like we can't really tell the story without kind of telling how we all met each other, which was kind of through Joel. But probably 3 years ago in 2017, almost 4 years, I guess now. I'd already been, well into craft beer, drinking West Coast IPAs and stuff, and like thought I was deep in the game. And then I met some of these dudes, and it kind of definitely changed my outlook on what beer is and what beer could be. And so that's kind of what I hope to bring to some people as well, is like, if you're kind of on the fringe of the craft beer scene and you start seeing some of your friends talking about some shit you don't know what you're talking about, like we're going to tell you what you need to know probably. Yeah. So.
Except me. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Ruben's already too cool for the game. You know what I mean?
They just got me here. They said you could drink beer and you could talk a little bit of shit. And I'm like, all right, I'm good with that.
So we all knew, I met Joel at a bottle, it was actually a brewery bottle share, or not the brewery, but like at a brewery. I won't name any names for, posterity's sake here. But I met him and a lot of other friends that were into that scene. And then through that, I met Ruben. And then I brought Allie along with me on some of these. And she's like, what are you doing? Just drinking beers and stuff. And then she comes and is like, oh, right? I mean.
Yeah, he kept telling me it was a bottle share. I'm like, well, you're still just drinking beers. And then I went and I was like, oh, I like these bottle shares.
Yeah, it's classy.
It's amazing how people who are not in the community, when you tell them what you do, like at a bottle share, like, really? And so you guys just share bottles of beer? I'm like, yeah, all night. all night.
It doesn't get tiring.
You're like,
Every weekend.
Like, do you get drunk? Like, you're only getting splashes, right? I'm like, yeah. You eventually get
Yeah.
drunk.
Yeah. No. Everyone
Yeah,
brings enough beer. If
slowly
you
but
think about
surely.
it, like what I always like kind of interesting is like, oh yeah, everybody's drinking, splashes, but if you brought 3 beers, like 3 full beers, say it's a 750 milliliters, and everybody brings 3 full 750 milliliters, and you all take the same amount of splashes, like theoretically you are drinking like 3 full
bottles.
3
Yeah,
bottles to your head. I mean, it's over a long period of time. I mean, obviously, we're all pros here.
Well, it's amazing because when I started doing bottle shares, I would take like 1 or 2 bottles. And then eventually it was like I'm trying to take like 3 or 4 bottles just to kind of clear out everything,
Yeah.
everything that I have. And like now, just like even tonight, I'm just brought like 4 things. I'm just clear it out. I don't.
Oh,
need
so you're
this
just
beer.
bringing us like your garbage here, dude? No.
A little bit, yeah. I mean,
Well, one of the I'm just busting. I mean, yeah, there's some. Yeah, I'm looking over at what Ruben's got here. It's definitely not trash.
Ruben's trash is our treasure.
But it's one of those things that, yeah, like, I mean, I was intimidated when I first started going to shares and stuff. Like, I didn't quite, I had probably Toolbox was my first things that I was collecting those already, and I was like, oh, this is good. These guys are these guys are killing it. Like, not much better than that. And then, like I said, like, had some. I remember the first time I had Bottle Logic, I was like, oh, whoa, that was the best. I was like immediately like best stout I ever had. Like, and then lots of stuff in there.
we gotta emphasize that none of this is possible without Joel. Joel was the introduction.
Yeah.
To everybody.
Oh, totally.
So if you guys don't know Joel, his Instagram handles Beer with Pleasant Strangers because he loves throwing down bottle shares.
and that's him.
He's a
Yeah.
pro drinker. Like he could be drunk and you would never tell. You would never tell that he was drunk.
He doesn't get drunk.
Yeah,
He must be Irish.
We should point out, if you haven't, for anyone listening who hasn't yet crossed this threshold, what we were just referring to was the whole concept of cellaring beer, which is something that I certainly didn't have a clue you could do when I first started getting into craft beer. The whole idea that you could buy a beer, take it home, put it in a dark closet or in the back of your fridge, leave it sit there for years, and then drink it, like, or months or years, however long you want. That had never crossed my mind until one of the people at Stone told me about that. Oh, they're calling me back.
Some of those
Here you go,
older
guys.
stones like age really well too. I think we were talking about this a while ago. Last time we were here, we were talking about because like Double Bastard ages really well. They're like they're stone vertical. What's that?
Basically they're bigger beers and stuff for sure.
Yeah.
RIS.
Their barley wine, the Old Guardian.
I guess if they had, like, I mean, I feel like, did they even ever bottle Guardian or Old Guardian?
Oh yeah, dude. There's so many vintages in bottles.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
To be honest, I only remember having it. I used to get like growler fills of it.
Oh, yeah,
By
they
the way,
bottled it
I
for
lived right
years.
by there. I lived like seriously. I lived in Escondido, like, and it was like right there. I was like,
Shameless plug. That's how he got his Instagram handle, Growler Hour.
yeah, right, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I guess yeah. And you guys, people can follow me on Growler Hour as well. That's my personal Instagram, and then also Ruben is how it's RV. I always forget it. Confused.
RL Vinay.
RL Vinay.
VINEH. I'm not very imaginative. It's just middle name.
Yeah, when are you gonna make that a beer podcast or a beer or a
So,
beer handle, dude?
When I started my Instagram, it was all like just normal life stuff, and then I tried to do like the multiple accounts thing, but it's just too much work. I rarely post on my Instagram. I can't imagine running a second Instagram.
Well, now you can at the First Sip Pod.
First Sip
At
Pod.
First Sip Pod.
It's under construction still. We
yeah.
haven't posted anything on there, but that's going to be coming out. We're going to put some content on there. Hopefully, we get some participation, some chugs from you guys or anybody who's listening. I'll do a chug on there, set it off, and then we can have a good time.
Wait, this is probably a good opportunity. Let's hop into our first segment here. So one of the things that we wanted to do, we'll introduce this, as the podcast goes on, but a little thing called Hall of Fame beers. And so essentially what we're going to do here is we're going to each nominate, and it's not going to be every show, but we want to nominate beers and then vote and induct them into our own Hall of Fame. And these are beers that are classics. I mean, they can be newer classics, but essentially something that probably had national reach. Something that's just, what do you think, Ruben? Like,
something that has national reach and impact, and if you had to write the book of craft beer in America, you could not write it without this beer. So going right along, I actually brought my nomination so we could drink it. And so the rules are that it has to get the majority vote here. So if there's a tie today, luckily we have our friend Matt sitting behind us, so he could break the tie if there's a tie. but we're going for the majority, and it has to win. And there's only one induction per time that we do this. So we changed it up a little bit. We talked about this yesterday, Joel. So national reach, it has to be something that it's significant in the craft beer scene, and we all have to agree on it. It's going to be tough because there's going to be a lot of great beers that don't get in right away. Just
Might not be first ballots, you know.
Yeah. Not everybody can be Peyton Manning.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
But so my nomination for tonight, as we introduce
Peyton Manning
this
as a
segment-
Colt, by the way. That's what he's talking about.
Oh, get out of here. So my nomination is Speedway Stout by AleSmith. I think this beer, like 2014, the barrel-aged Vietnamese version, is still one of the greatest beers ever made. 2016 was good, but not as great. And everybody who's been to Banker's House has had those huge verticals of every barrel-aged Speedway. I didn't bring a barrel-aged one. I just brought the regular one. It's an Imperial Stout, 12%. Has coffee in it. It is delicious. So I'm going to pop this and we could go around. But this
Let's
is
do
my
it.
nomination.
And then to give people on this, so what we're going to do is we're going to each give our own nomination, and then we're each going to vote. We had a little bit, I don't know if we quite talked this through of, you can't vote for your own, correct?
No, I think you can.
You
vote
can?
for it.
You want to? All right, we'll have everything. We'll see how that goes.
Hey, we make up the rules.
we might never
right?
get.
So,
we
I
might not
mean,
get. We might not get anything into the Hall of Fame ever.
So what's fun about this, though, is because we get to talk about why this beer is more significant.
Well, I already know I'm
than
not voting
the
for you.
rest.
No. No, so I mean, obviously, Speedway is like. I mean, yeah, that's like the quintessential stout. I mean, I feel like that was probably the first like stout that I was really getting into. It wasn't that one, but the first beer. It actually got me to like coffee. It was a porter with coffee, and that was like the first thing. It got me to like porters and stouts, and it got me to like coffee. It was like kind of a twofer.
Speedway Stout was to me like the introduction to the stout world. Like that changed my life. And so it's not nominated tonight, but this would probably be my introduction to. Excuse me. This is probably my introduction to barrel aged beers. Parabola was the one that blew my mind. But that's
Okay.
for
Slow down,
for-
slow
for-
down, slow
that's
down,
for-
slow
for-
down,
that's
dude.
for
Slow
another
down, slow
occasion.
down.
We're going
One
Speedway,
nomination
right.
here, okay.
We're going to Speedway Stout. So that's my nomination. Chris, you can go ahead. Or Allie.
I guess yeah. I'll go ahead. You go first, Al. You go first because I want to I brought my nomination as well. Fucking asshole.
Well, mine, Ruben, you might not like this, but
Uh-oh.
it's okay.
Uh-oh.
Well,
hold on.
no, I know
Let me
you
get
don't
ready.
like the beer, but anyways, I'm gonna have to pick Cantillon, Fufon, or Fufoon. I don't know exactly the best way to say it. I didn't bring one with me, sadly. I know Ruben's probably.
Here's the thing, and I love her nomination but I feel like that beer is a given. You know what I mean? I can't imagine anyone.
All of these are. I mean,
Well,
this
it's like,
this is the
but
fucking
I
Hall
nailed
of
it,
Fame,
isn't
dude.
it?
Like,
She nailed it. I mean,
I'm gonna do something
I'm gonna
similar.
have to argue against that in a second, but she fucking nailed what a Hall of Fame beer is. You cannot. I mean, that's it's such a traditional beer that there's nobody that's gonna say no at this table. And if you say no, you're an asshole.
well, it's gonna be brutal because I guess I'll go right. I don't have to open it right away, but my nomination is going to be Ode Goose from three Dre Fontaine, Armand, and Gaston Cuvée.
See, I feel like I'm underprepared. Like I gave them the teas last time, and they just came with heavy hitters today.
I rethought it through a little bit. When you say last time, we did. I guess we might as well call it out since we've referenced it already. We had a first podcast that got thrown technical difficulties. You know
Practice.
it's practice.
It was a test run.
Practice makes perfect, and you know what? We're better for it. We're richer for the experience. I would say.
All right. So we got Goose, Foo, and Speedway Stout. Joel, it's up to you.
I want to soapbox pontificate a little bit too, because in my mind, so for those listening who may or may not already be familiar, there were two websites, that had to do with beer: Rate Beer and Beer Advocate, and both of them basically had crowdsourced reviews that resulted in top lists of the best beers. And for a period of time, those lists of beers were like the go-to resource for people being like, what's the best beer? What's the best beer? We want the best beer. And to the point where people would like print them off and walk into like just the doors of any old bottle shop and be like, do you have this? And just like go down the list asking for these things. Some of the things on this list were crazy. So my philosophy about this whole segment that I want to soapbox on is that those websites have kind of gone the way of the dodo. Now we have Untapped and Instagram. I want to like approach this with if I'm going to curate like these are the beers you got to have. I'm going to go with my most solid recommendations, and maybe we can start a new top list that people will go to and tick off. So my nomination is a lot like Ruben's, and
Move
it
to
is going to
to the
be
right or to your right a little bit more.
Yep,
There you
can
go.
you see it? Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
there you go.
Old
Old
There you go.
Rasputin, son.
North Coast Old
You old
Rasputin.
dirty dog.
I stuck to my guns. This is the same one I nominated on the Lost episode, and yeah, simple reasoning. This beer's been around for years, widely available, terrific representation of the style. It's a Russian Imperial Stout, in case you didn't know. Old Rasputin, great artwork with a portrait of Rasputin right on the cover there. It exemplifies everything that's awesome about this style. It has no adjuncts, nothing whatsoever, nothing done to it. There are variants, barrel aged variants, and things that they've done to it over the years, but this is just all around a terrific beer. I have fond memories of this beer too because I had it on a trip, gosh, like 13 years ago to Long Beach, where I wound up at a bar with my friends, and they had pictures of this, 64 ounces, half off. So it was like
Jeez, you must have
$7
gotten
for like
hammered.
64 ounces of this beer, and that was my introduction to Old Rasputin.
Oh,
But it's one
yeah.
that I'll come back to over and over again. It's just
Yeah, look at
beautiful,
that. That's a
completely opaque, can't see through it, and if I'm not careful, I will drink more than a couple of these
drink a few pitchers
in one
of those.
go.
I love that beer. That's one of those old school beers that doesn't get
I know.
much
I wish you
love
were here, Joel.
in the modern world because everything has to have excess sugar now. But
Oh yeah.
Old Rasputin is fantastic. And the crazy thing, I found myself at Fort Bragg because that's where what is it, Lost Coast, right? Left Coast.
Yeah.
North
it's
Coast.
awesome.
Yeah. So I found myself out there because my sister lives up in Northern California, and I was dying to go, but unfortunately, I had to be, responsible. I had my nephews in the back seat, so I didn't want to drink anything. So, but I missed out my opportunity. But I'm hoping I can visit that brewery because I love that beer.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Allie and I, we were up, sort of. I mean, we were in Morgan Hill, which is it's probably 45 minutes south of San Jose, so not quite Central Coast, but probably pretty close, I guess. And so it probably wasn't far from where Lost Coast is, but there was this nice it's called like the Hop Stop and Run or something. It was like a really cool especially there was no beer stuff around, and then there was like this dope beer bar. It had like
It was
probably
like
50
bikes and
beers.
Beer bar. It was really cool.
And so we had I think there was probably there was probably 3 different kinds of Old Rasputin, Joel. Like it was like barrel. I mean, this was obviously it's been at this point it had been out. This was probably only like a couple years ago.
Oh, that's true. We did try them all.
And so yeah, it was probably there was a barrel aged one. There was a couple. There was some kind of crazy variant that I don't recall.
I've seen whiskey. I've seen rye barrels. They've done different types of barrels. I haven't seen
Yeah.
anything with adjuncts, but that beer is phenomenal. I think I have maybe a 2014 or 15 in my quote unquote cellar right now. I should have brought it. I didn't know that was going to be his nomination, or else I would have brought it.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like Chocovesa. I just keep extras of just random beers just to see what it tastes like in a few years.
Yeah, for science.
For science. But that's a great beer. Now that all our nominations are on the board, let me tell you why I think Allie and Chris's nominations shouldn't go in. Here we go. So the reason why I don't think their beers should go in, especially in the first episode, because we're talking about the American craft beer scene, and although those are great, phenomenal beers, they're not American.
What is that? Is this the American Hall of Fame or is this the fucking Hall of Fame, dude? Come on,
But we're talking about the American craft beer culture, right? And those beers.
But weren't they influenced by
I mean, how many?
breweries
What if we
Belgium?
if
See,
we
but you guys are
have
looking at this logically. I'm trying to win here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm refuting. I'm striking your point down, and this is me fucking smiting you.
It's not a-
but also it is international. International, obviously, because it comes from a different country. But everyone in America could be, it's out of the state for them. Everyone.
No, I understand, and I would vote for those beers any other time. But if we're talking about the American craft beer landscape, I think Joel's beer or my
Right,
beer.
yeah, well, I was gonna say is,
is
well, who you
better
gonna vote? Well,
suited.
who you gonna vote for between? If you're like between my beer and Joel's beer, are you gonna vote for Joel's beer then, or what? Like, what are you
No, I
doing?
totally voted for mine, but that's what I'm saying though. I think that you guys are technically right. Those beers are phenomenal, but like, can you, can you write American craft beer scene without those beers? Maybe.
I see what you're saying.
Well, I was
Ugh.
gonna say Nut Brown from Alesmith as well, and
You gotta save that for the next Hall of Fame, baby.
well, I'm just saying, but I don't know. But I think the one that you picked like can represent
Yeah.
that as well. Speedway Stout is like almost.
Yes, Elspeth might get
to
him.
choose
Elspeth,
between those two.
Elspeth might fuck around and get a few in these Hall of Fames.
Yeah.
Are we gonna do every? It's like if we do Speedway, does that automatically like? Are you gonna nominate like Speedway Vietnamese, like all different variants, or is it like Speedway kind of like speaks for all of them?
I was going with Speedway speaks for all of them because
I think that makes
did
sense.
mention
Yeah,
the
else
variants.
yeah. What do you?
Because I did mention the variants like the Vietnamese, which is that's like one of the best beers ever brewed. in
And
San
maybe that's
Diego.
why it makes it such a great Hall of Fame beer.
Yeah.
Ruben.
I feel like we're buying. You know,
I
I feel like I'm
I'm-
winning you over.
I mean,
I feel like I'm winning
seeing
you
your
over.
side. I'm not saying I didn't pick a good one, but I do hear what you're saying that it's.
No, I completely agree with your picks. Like as soon as you guys said them, I'm like,
Oh.
fuck, of course, of course, those are given. But if for the sake of argument, I would say
Joel, what do you
the
think?
American.
Are Chris and I two out there?
No, well, I would separate regular Speedway Stout from barrel aged Vietnamese Speedway Stout. I would separate those two different beers, two different nominations. I wouldn't lump all of the Speedways all into
Is
one
Vietnamese
category.
only barrel aged?
No, they have regular.
Okay,
Vietnamese
okay.
As well.
Yeah, they had regular Vietnamese. They had 2014 was the very first bourbon barrel aged variant. There was a 2016 bourbon barrel aged and a 2017 rye whiskey barrel aged version. All were different. All were really good in their way, but I think the 2014 is the one that is universally acclaimed as the most delicious, most like creme brulee tasting one. But yeah, we technically have 4 different styles. We have like an American double coffee stout. We have a fruited lambic. We have a classic goose blended goose, and we have just a Russian imperial stout. So we have 4 totally different styles, and they're all 4 wonderful examples of those styles. I would put them in the top echelons of each one of those styles. So now we just have to make the tough decision and pick one.
That's what I'm saying, dude. We can't vote for our
there
own.
is a
have it.
reason Matt's here.
Okay, so we're gonna go with you can't vote for your own.
Yeah, because I feeling like I would want to vote for my own. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but fuck you guys. Like,
All right, so if we go around the room right now, I mean, unless you guys got more arguments to present, I mean, you guys don't need much of an argument. It's like it's food,
Yeah.
it's goose. I'm not gonna say no to either of them. So unless you guys got another point to sway,
I know.
somebody
I
in the
think I'm
room.
ready. I think I'm ready to vote.
All right, you ready to vote? All right. You know what? We're gonna start off with Joel because he's the most level-headed. He's the most level-headed out of all of us, and Joel is joining us remotely, and he's probably the nicest person in this room.
It's buttering him up. Why don't you? Jesus.
So
I think
again,
Joel's
just so
also
I'm clear,
great. He's also
I get
hung
one
like a
vote.
moose. Huh?
I get one vote, and I have to pick one of the 3 of yours, right? All right, if I get one vote and I have to pick one of the 3 of each of yours, I think I'm going to pick Speedway, actually.
I already
That's why
see.
that-
Ruben had you go first.
I didn't. Hey,
No,
I'm
that's-
teasing.
if I'm gonna go, all right. You know, I'm gonna let Chris go because that was for me. So I'm gonna let Chris go.
I already see the way this thing's going. And I can't. I gotta say, Ruben's not gonna be able to vote for
You
herself.
can't vote for yourself.
I want to start getting beers in the Hall of Fame. I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna vote for Speedway.
Oh,
I'll go against
Shabs.
I wanted to do Fufan. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like I want to teeter with that one. It's gonna be yeah. So we have to get 3 votes, or is it gonna be just majority? gets
Majority
it?
rules.
Majority rules.
Yeah, 'cause
Well,
we're not doing the vote for your own. 'Cause if we do for
yeah, yeah. All right, I'll go Speedway.
So we got
Reluctantly. I want it on the record.
All right, out of the
And then Allie.
Allie.
I'm gonna have to say Speedway too.
Dang, you see that? That's called convincing, guys.
It's a great beer.
Yeah,
been a lawyer.
It's a
you
great
did there.
beer.
It's a good.
And you picked a good one, and you are convincing.
and I'm gonna go. I would have gone with Foo But since Speedway has a lead right now, I mean, I can say that safely now. I would have gone with Fu.
Well, don't you have to?
Just for shits and giggles, Matt, what would you have picked?
Oh yeah, we got Matt in the background over here. Shout out to.
It's our podcast groupie today.
All right. I'm not a big Speedway fan.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Matt
this
doesn't
guy
like
is not like
beer.
coffee.
I'm gonna go with the
Wild
Cuvée
card.
A&G because that's one of my favorite Shelby.
Yeah,
flavors.
fuck yeah.
None of these are wrong.
Yeah.
Like, if you bring any of these beers over, I'm gonna be happy to drink it with.
Man, I should have nominated a shitty beer at first.
Well, the thing is, you can bring it back.
I know.
You can bring it back. So
Oh,
it is-
true.
It
You
is
can keep
official.
working on it.
It is official.
Put it on the board.
The Speedway Stout is the
It is
first Hall of Fame
delicious.
beer
It's
for
delicious.
the first podcast, the first sip podcast.
Cheers.
Cheers!
And we had
Cheers,
and we're
everybody.
Cheers,
and
we established our-
We have
Our bona fides. All the Speedway fans are going to come out of the woodwork after they hear this. They're going to be like,
oh
"What
yeah,
the heck?"
yeah, you gotta have some. Okay.
So this is an old style, so it's not gonna be like the sugar stuff that's out now. But sweet. So we got Speedway Stout.
I feel like we gotta have some kind of thing where it's like all in favor of the Speedway, say aye. Aye.
We need
It's
a
like
gavel.
Yeah.
all not in favor, say nay. And it's like, oh, the ayes have it.
We have a wooden gavel.
When you're like,
I'll
look,
bring
go,
it.
go, 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 like.
Remember, we have one at our house.
So Speedway is the first Hall of Fame beer, and there's nothing wrong about this beer. It's perfect. If you don't like coffee, that's understandable because I know. A few
And this is
people that
like, there's
don't
not
like
just like
beers.
coffee of like, this is motherfucking coffee to the dome. I feel like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's got that. Man, yeah.
It's also an influential coffee beer. It's a beer that's influenced a lot of other coffee stouts, right? The Mikkeller's very famous Beer Geek whole series. They made that with direct help from AleSmith. AleSmith helped them formulate that recipe.
Well, they were homies back in the day, right? Like McKellar and Peter Zine or whatever. Or they were like
Yeah.
big time, but now they're like fucking hate each other. It's like,
Do they?
yeah, because McKellar
I
they used to
don't know
have the
about
and
that, but-
no. Well, I don't know. I was gonna say maybe you're the member there, Joel. You probably have better insight than any of us, but so much so they were homies that they had like the little anvil. There's like a small anvil inside of McKellar, at least McKellar San Diego's logo. Representative because they're in the
took
they're
old
yeah they took the old
AleSmith.
they took over the old AleSmith. They were friends with them, but what I've heard is that there was a separation. They're like not chill anymore.
TMZ.
I don't know. I think there was some drama back in the day because they did take over the old brewery, but there was an anvil incorporated into the logo for some collabs they did, but only for the collabs.
Okay. Because I think Beer Geek Breakfast was what was that, like 2013 when they first collabed?
Oh damn.
That was a long time ago, and that one's has been primarily brewed overseas. The original Beer Geek, but they did a collab that was a Speedway version of Beer Geek. Is that what you're talking about? Yes, you might be right. It was a while ago. I went down and I went to that release. That was at the old brewery, and I got 4 bottles of that. It was good.
Yeah, because they still make Beer Geek like brunch and like just like Beer Geek shake. Like, do they make even like the more like old school versions, or is it just kind of like the shake kind of versions now? Which I don't
They
know.
make a lot of versions of it now.
They have so many.
Shake-
versions
the
of it.
Okay.
The shakes are the very popular barrel aged versions, but they make plenty of non barrel aged adjuncted versions of that beer as well.
You know what? Like, to me, AleSmith is one of those breweries that if they're brewing something, I'm gonna try it. Like, it doesn't matter if it's not my bag. I'm gonna try it because they just nail.
It's not my bag, baby.
They nail so many of the traditional styles. Like,
Yeah, the nut brown. I was saying that's
The
one of
nut
my
brown?
top.
Yeah.
top
ESB.
Ale
AleSmith, dude, AleSmith IPA is like way under. Like, I feel like AleSmith IPA is way better than like Stone IPA.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
And everyone talks
100%.
about like, oh, Stone IPA. Like, dude, AleSmith blows that
And
shit out of the water.
AleSmith's facility.
394. I mean,
390.
394. Dude, that's probably a Hall of Fame beer.
That's
Fuck,
San-
like that
that's-
shit. That's probably
that's
more
San
of a Hall of Fame beer.
Diego.
Fuck
Oh,
your.
Oh, yeah.
394 is San Diego. That is that.
Yeah.
I mean, are we? But it's like the only. I almost wanted. I was almost. I wanted to get a. You know, maybe this is not how the Hall of Fame thing go. I wanted to get something in the Hall of Fame, so I'm voting for Speedway. But I almost wanted to go for Joel's, just because I feel like, you know, are we biased over here and see, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
if
did
you
we
if
see
you
the
grew up
word
if you
San
grew up in
Diego?
the Bay Area, do you think you would have voted Obviously it's our fucking podcast. We'll vote stuff into the Hall of Fame as we see fit. But if you were in the Bay Area, you think you would have voted for Old Rasputin or for Speedway? You know what I mean? Like probably Old Rasputin.
I appreciate Old Rasputin, and this is the reason
Why do you hate Old Rasputin,
I
Ruben?
love it. But the reason why I'm saying Speedway, because although Joel wants to separate it, he wants to separate the barrel-aged Vietnamese, the barrel-aged Speedways. The reason why I say that it's all-encompassing, because like this is the base beer for some of the best regarded beers ever. Like barrel-aged Speedway, I still argue that's one of the best barrel-aged beers that you can get semi-regularly, and there's no line for
That's
that
a good
anymore.
point.
There's
That
no
is-
line for that anymore. And then like if you were drinking beer,
consistent.
like in 2014, you would remember how big barrel-aged Vietnamese was. Like
No, that was the
beer-
shit. I mean, even not that long ago, that was the shit.
Yeah.
So, like, if you can get like fucking Vietnamese, like, fuck.
Like 2014 barrel-aged Vietnamese made its way across the country. Like everybody wanted that beer. That beer was phenomenal. So that's why I'm saying it's all-encompassing. But like going back to the point about 394, to me that's San Diego. Not
That's
only
it.
the story with Tony Gwynn's 394 batting
Mm-hmm.
average, but the style. It's like a West Coast IPA, or well, it's a pale ale technically, right?
Yeah,
It
pale
is
ale.
technically a pale ale.
It's, yeah, but and that to
Weirdly.
me is San Diego. That is San Diego to me. I'm sorry, what is it? Bay City Brewing that got the official San Diego beer. I apologize to you guys. No offense to you guys,
Yeah.
but 394 is San Diego to me.
I think we're gonna need a recount on this.
Hard to argue.
Hall of Shit.
Yeah, 394 was phenomenal, and it's great when you see that, because for the longest time I wasn't a huge fan of McKellar, but when they took over that AleSmith spot and finally had like a home base to actually brew, like they've pushed out some great beers out of that spot.
Like when the first year when they opened and shit, dude, they didn't push out like they pushed out a shitload. They had a can release. This was like when can releases were like still fairly new. Like they did a can release every single weekend.
Yeah,
It was,
But
and
when
it
was
was
the
like the
last time
hype.
you went and got one of their cans? I feel like I haven't had
been
as
a
much
minute, dude. I'm
McKellar
pretty
as we used. As
Well, I
I
used to be a big time McKellar fan. I just, being a home brewer and stuff, like I was just a fan of. Ooh, excuse me. And I was just a fan of how he started his thing in terms of like he didn't buy, he didn't do the normal like
gypsy
brick and
brewer,
mortar. Yeah, he was a
exactly.
gypsy brewer.
Such a concept.
Was like opening tap rooms. Like he also typically doesn't own anything 100%, so he like does them with like people.
and then
It just was like a cool way to get started. I was like, oh, you can do that. Like
and his bars. I mean, his bars are hubs for craft beer. Like if
you're
you
sick.
And the
if you go
artwork
to-
is fun. They're
Yeah.
happy.
If you go to any
great
city and you see
vibe.
that on there, like that's gonna be a dope spot to visit.
Dude.
You're know gonna have some good beer.
Yeah, I know. We went to when we went. I mean, we've gone
we
to
went on
Europe
a
a
beer
couple times. Well, the first, we did go like on a more beer honeymoon kind of thing, but even just going to Italy, I think we went to two. Like there was a few different cities. Like in Italy, craft beer scene is not quite as big as it could be in like other cities, but you could be like Rome, Florence. They both had McKellar bars, and so it's like you could just go there and it's like, okay, we know we can at least get some kind of decent beer going on. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so it's like it's kind of like that. Like BrewDog was sort of like that too. If you go to a BrewDog pub, like I'd argue I'd probably still rather go to a McKellar, but like BrewDog was like a similar type thing.
McKellar
Like
has a really good way of being international and here in the states,
it's
and
San
like you
Diego
want
now.
yeah.
both.
Well, they have their brewery here,
Well,
so I
they
guess
have
we
one
can
in New
go.
York, or I mean, they're
No,
I
that
guess
was
it's
some
his brother,
no, that was some
or
fake. No,
it's
that was something
big
else.
news. No.
Well, they did. So the McKellar it was in Shea Stadium, and he did it like so. Obviously, everyone.
He
Most people
licensed the
know-
name, right?
Yeah, but he does that with a lot of them. But they did it. He has a rivalry with his brother. His brother, like Evil Twin Brewing, Jeppe. They actually don't like each other, so they were trying to stick it. And Jeppe has been in New York for like 20. It's like maybe not quite 20 years, but he's been in New York for a long time. Like he's like he's kind of gone the more American way. McKellar stayed pretty European. Like he still lives in Denmark and shit. But Jeppe has been in New York. He's been trying to get this New York thing going. And New York has like a weird law about like the only way you can open up a business in New York is if you're headquartered in New York or something like that. And so McKellar fucking stuck it to him and partnered with the Shea Stadium people. And basically he owned nothing of it. There actually, I think there was I don't like to reference him, but like Good Beer Hunting had like an article about it. And essentially he didn't own anything of it. and it was just kind of like there was actually some other brewery was brewing a lot of the beers that was going into that spot.
So it was just like a middle finger.
Yeah, and so it was middle finger to Jeppe, and then Jeppe did end up opening Evil Twin New York City, and so it's. I think, to be honest, I think, coming full circle now, I think I'm probably a bigger Jeppe fan than the McKellar now. Like, I think he's more of a real dude, but Evil Twin, I don't know.
I love
Ruben
him.
probably hates Evil Twin beers.
No.
I can
So,
imagine. I can see you
not
hating.
all, he misses. Both of them miss a lot. I think they
Oh
both miss
yeah,
on a lot
yeah.
of beers.
McKellar makes dude. I
But-
don't know.
And I'm not involved in their feud, so I don't care either way. But I just love how Evil Twin Jeppe, like he pushes down trolls. Anybody trolls on his page, like he comments back.
Yeah.
And as someone who likes doing that, I appreciate that realness.
Yeah, at least he
like-
doesn't block him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he talks smack right back. And
He'll post it on his own personal page too. Be like, "Oh, look at this asshole!" Like, you know what I mean?
I-
You're
But
like,
he has the
love that
authority
so
to do
much.
that. It's fun.
no, it's respect.
He
Yeah,
knows-
exactly.
yeah.
I like it.
I love that so much. But like going back to McKellar, I mean, I gotta give him props because I think when were those first shakes, the rum shake and the bourbon shake?
When was that?
Was
That
that
was
2016?
You're talking about from the McKellar San Diego Brewery?
Yeah.
I think you might be right. I think it was 2016.
Yeah, and that's because I
I feel like
remember
we all
them.
look
Double check
at you,
it.
Joel, for
Yeah.
confirmation.
Yeah, you're
that-
you're our
If
You're an
we're
encyclopedia.
wrong,
Well,
you're
especially
right.
for
I
mean,
was
for
I was
beer
a
in general.
member. I'm no longer a member anymore, but I was a member for years. So yeah, I
But
think you're right. 2016 was the
that
year.
rum shake. Jesus, that was one of the best beers I've ever had. And I'm not a huge fan of rum barrel aged beers, but that beer was phenomenal.
Well, when done right,
I was just
rum
gonna say
could
rum.
be-
Yeah, rum's hard, but
it can get
exactly,
fucked
when
up.
it's done
It can
right.
be easily, from what I understand, like from a brewing perspective, easily fucked up that way too in terms of getting infections. Like it's not as like because they're like so-
multi-use barrels.
yeah,
right?
yeah, multi-use. They like, dude, if you like, I was watching some. It's kind of random, but we were watching like Aerial America. I don't know if you know that show, like on Smithsonian, and it's like it flies over different states and stuff. So they're flying
It's
over
my
Puerto
favorite
Rico, and they're flying over the like Bacardi facility, and there was just like a shitload of barrels and stuff all outside and stuff, and it's like. I mean, it's rum, so that's not getting fucked up. But it's like you just think about like that's not being like pristinely handled, like how like these nice bourbon barrels
Well, yeah,
are.
because
You know,
bourbon
and it's one use. One
Bourbon
use.
is one use. So,
You get one chance of that fucking thing.
but that beer, I think that beer is the exception because that rum beer was phenomenal. That's one of those beers that I still look back and think back.
Damn,
and I'm
I
like,
love that.
I wish I could have that again.
Dude, there's a couple.
So 2017. Sorry, believe it or not, it was only 2017. It's
That was
because 2020
I
has
thought I
felt
was
like
gonna
it's been
say
100 years
17. I didn't
long.
want to correct anybody here, but I was thinking that in my head.
I just throw numbers out, all right?
In my head.
Sometimes-
Nobody else.
he
Nobody
wanted
else.
Joel to
sometimes I'm
correct him.
wrong. Most of the time, I'm
yeah,
wrong.
actually, because I remember it because it was like some of the first stuff that was like, like I said, in 17 is when I got, I said like real deep into the scene. That's when I was like, but like I said, I also could have seen like, oh, that was from the year before or something like that.
Well, that was so when those shakes came out, because McKellar San Diego had their special Viking Club, which is actually the glass that I've got right here. It's a Viking Club glass. I don't know if you can see it or not. The very first year, they released a bunch of great beer, but they didn't release any barrel aged shakes or any shakes at all. And then they started up the next year membership, and they released the shakes right away. So I stayed in and I was happy and I got the shakes, but there were some year one people who were like, no shakes, and they quit the membership. And then immediately the shakes came out the second year and they were all salty and mad. I was like, you should have just stayed in, because it kept getting better. That was a membership for people who are familiar with breweries that have memberships. That was a membership that kept getting better and better every year, which I very much appreciated.
So right now we just popped "Never Sleep" by Monkish. Compliments to Joel for sharing this with me. He actually gave me a
nice.
4-pack. I met him about a week ago. This beer, it's like every Monkish beer. It's good.
Dude, I thought this one in particular was actually really good though. Like maybe just the way I was having it, I had like a Jersey Mike's an Italian with it, and I just feel like the
Like Scaro.
yeah. And I feel like the like whatever what they call the juices and stuff, right? Like the vinegar or something. And maybe it just was making it pop a little bit extra or something.
I could see a monkish beer being a terrific combination with like an Italian sub.
Dude,
Totally.
it was weirdly
with a
yeah.
Chris
seasoned
told me about it,
vinaigrette.
too. He said it was
Yeah, even before this, yeah.
A
I'm
great
not
lunch.
just saying this because we're on a podcast right now. I'm saying it because like it was like literally I was surprised. Like it was like almost like it kind of canceled out I mean, not that there's much bitterness in these monkish anyway, but it's like something about it just exemplify, like kind of really amplified the juiciness of it.
Can you imagine if Monkish had a sandwich shop next door?
They have a
Oh.
burger shop. They do kind of do.
Well, I know, but I mean like a sub
but-
shop, not.
Yeah, yeah,
They
yeah,
have
yeah.
like a.
Well, that's
more
yeah, exactly.
fast
We found the
food kinda
we
thing.
found like the perfect pairing. You know what I mean?
Well, call me crazy, but I think a lot of monkish hazy IPAs actually have a fairly decent umami going on in them. I think most of them do.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I know.
Like
I mean,
sa-
they've
like
used
little savory.
What's funny is they've used like foods like I think they used like pasta dough or something in like a beer one time. Like they made like there's like some kind of like they did a collaboration with a restaurant.
Wasn't
and-
there like a meatball one?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. It's like a
Like a
meat. They call it
meatball?
meatball something, but I
Oh,
think that they used. I
yes.
thought they used. Like pasta pasta dough in the mash or
They're
something.
going full. What's that? That Swedish brewery that does everything.
Omnipolo.
Oh yeah, they're going.
Jinx.
They're going full.
Jinx,
Omnipolo.
Yomi, and
Yeah.
805
Well, they
Yomi
would
and
have
805
ice
Joel.
cream and cupcakes. in it.
They're going full omnipolo. Dude, like when I see those pictures and those videos of them just throwing so much stuff into the mash, like it's hysterical.
Dude, people
I love
stand by that. Like, I have not had very much Omnipolo. I don't get what the fucking like some of the ones I had. I thought were a little bit overrated. Like too weirdly sweet. Like I wasn't getting the like, but they throw like people fucking love that. I mean,
That's
they're
their
they might be
niche.
the big like Instagram follower wise, which is like a fairly good barometer of like how big you are in the beer scene. Like Instagram followers, I would say is pretty like a pretty good representation. Like I said, but beyond that, they collaborate with all the big boys.
But-
They're like people fucking love them some Omnipolo. And
Well,
I
they
don't
have
know,
to
like-
rely on their content. I mean, you
I-
have to.
I mean, you drink with your
search
eye.
for their
You drink with your
beers.
eyes first for sure, and like
Oh,
they
of course.
definitely like they make that pop.
And
like,
by all accounts, I know one of my good friends is good friend with Magnus, which I believe is the owner of Omnipolo.
damn, that's a sick name,
And I
Magnus.
believe that's him. I could be wrong, but
dude.
from
That's
I
a
by,
hope you're
sick
right.
name.
By all
I forget everything I just said. I just got
by
way
all
more
accounts,
respect. for
by
it.
all accounts, he's one of the coolest fucking dudes in beer. And this is coming from a friend who I hold in high regard. So, if she thinks that he's awesome, I'm like, that's probably has something to do with it. You know what I mean? Because
You talking about Kate?
yeah, they want to name that. but yeah, by all accounts,
Yeah.
like he's
You'll
You don't
meet
wanna
Kate
name, you don't
one
wanna
day,
name names
audience.
around here.
yeah, by all accounts, he's a great.
He
dude.
named name.
So I think that has a lot to do with it because when you're likable, I mean I should probably take this, but when you're likable, like people are willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Oh, for sure.
To
I mean, to be honest,
Most
that's
people are nice.
yeah, and that's the whole thing of like the beer scene. Like these guys are all homies and shit. Like, like it's a tight scene, dude. Like once you start being like in the like club too, like there's like I mean, not every even dudes that have been around for a long time and stuff. Not everybody's in like I don't even know how you would describe it, but there's definitely like a clique.
There's an inner circle to everything. Like
I mean, they happen to be, in our opinions, probably some of the better breweries out there too. Like
yeah,
There's a cool kids group, but I don't. I've never felt like it was ever very exclusive. There are people who maybe try to make it appear exclusive, but it's never
Yeah,
felt
no,
exclusive
It's, like I
to
said,
me.
it's pretty big. I mean, it's a pretty big network and stuff. It's like the big
Yeah.
like what's called like a good example of it, or like a good way to define it, which a lot of people maybe can understand is like if you were at the Mostra festival, that's kind of that club. Would you say? Like, I mean, there's probably more
Do
to
you
that.
even know
like,
what the Mostra Festival is?
yeah. Well, dude, if that's what I'm saying
part
is
of
if
that
you're,
club.
hey, yeah,
Yes.
if you're a hardcore hobbyist like us, you know what the fuck we're talking about.
but
right,
I don't know
guys?
if that's
Man.
necessarily a
I mean,
clique because
of
by all
2000
accounts,
Just-
Mostra does collabs with anybody that wants to use their bean.
Right, but the dudes like think about the breweries that were there, dude. Those guys all slap.
Was that in
Yeah,
early
they're all I mean
20?
You know
for
what I mean?
sure they're all pulling out bangers.
I mean, bangers, but they all slap with each other. You know what I mean? Like they're all like the part of the thing. I guess they all do
Slap
like,
with each other. Sounds like a good name for a beer.
Limp
Yeah.
Bizkit.
When was that? Was that in January?
Yes, it was.
That
It
was
was this
this
year,
year.
Allie.
That was
It
the
was
only one I think-
I know
2020.
there was some stuff that happened in 2020
No,
before
there was
shit
a
went
lot
to
that
complete.
happened in January. I remember Virgin. I mean, there's just a lot of like anniversary
Because
parties.
Virgin was the
Carnival
same
of
day, wasn't it?
Caffeination.
Same day, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
there-
guys go to the Mostra or did you guys go to Virgin?
We went to Mostra.
Mostra, dude. We took a
Mostra.
picture
I
together.
w- I was
Dude,
there.
I was pretty drunk that night. I don't know if you could.
We had a great day. at
No,
Mostra.
dude, yeah. Everybody knows you were drunk, dude. No,
But,
yeah.
but
the whole neighborhood. No, just kidding.
that event was great, but I felt like last year's was better. I just feel like the spot wasn't as cool as
The hotel.
previous year. The hotel was amazing,
I know I didn't go that one.
and especially like Joel, you were at the hotel one, right, in Del Mar?
I was.
and
Mhm.
nobody was going for assassin. There was because it was in the back room, so I got like 5 or 6 pours, like while my
Damn.
friend waited for Bake.
I heard there
So-
was a bunch of like not a bunch of beers, but there was like a lot of like killers that were like nobody was going for, and everyone was just like the pyramid, the peak of the pyramid of like hype.
I think that's what set off. I think what is it? Hidden Springs. Hidden Springs.
Yeah,
that
Hidden
the
Springs
Kong- the
Ale
Kong
Works was the
versus
one that
something
nobody
like
was
that?
going for there, and I was. Yeah, I hung around their pour station, and I got
Yeah,
multiple pours
because
of that.
What was it called?
It was Mostra versus Kong.
Mostra versus Kong.
It was Cat Kong. The first one is Cat Kong. You're not wrong. Mostra versus Kong was the one they came out with later.
Yeah, but I remember my friend Mike. Shout out to Michael Foster. He was the one that because he was an abnormal member. So the previous year, he's like, dude, this was the best beer at the fucking event. So when you go there, find Hidden Springs. Their beer is gonna fuck. And so it's one of those that didn't have any line. There was no line there. There was no line at Toppling Goliath for like the first hour. There was no line. While everyone was in line for Bake, I literally went to the back room and got like I grabbed my pour and I went back in line. I shot 5 or 6 pours of Assassin. It was awesome. And then
Wow.
Steve, Dr. Onyx, was waiting in line for Bake.
Yeah.
So
he got screwed. I heard his story.
Yeah, so he was saving us. So one of the things, I mean, this was pre-COVID, so you could share things back then. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I got a pour of Assassin. Like, not only did I get my fill of Assassin, but I got a pour for Steve too, and in line. And one of the
That's
the way to
teamwork.
do
That's
it at a
teamwork. Yeah, that's
festival.
teamwork right there, dude. It
That's
makes it
the
teamwork.
benefits of being
Yeah, that's how
married.
it was at the. I mean,
Chris and I
one
would
of
do
the-
that too.
That's how it was at the Horus Festival too. It was big time because, dude, as crazy as like Mostra was and stuff,
Oh, Hoot
the
Nanny.
Hootenanny, that shit was like a fucking bonanza, dude. Like there was lines. I remember like the lines were like snake because it was kind of everything was sort of in this inside area.
That was a fun event.
And it was fun for sure, but it was like this like weird snaking thing, and you had to be on these crazy lines. So you basically worked with like your friends and got pours at other people's stations and shit. Especially like, I mean, I'm a member and stuff, so and a lot of people, like, be honest, they weren't checking anybody's
humble
shit.
brag.
Yeah.
Well, no, he looked at me because I had to wait an hour outside.
yeah, sorry, babe.
That's the truth.
Sorry about it, babe.
But anyways, it was
but
fine.
yeah, but if you worked with your friends, you got pours of all sorts of shit. Like, one person would stay in line, and like, yeah, no, it's a great way to do it.
It's a great system. And then also shout out to Michael Foster because Michael Foster was
That dude takes the fucking
that dude
sugar water.
That is a fucking whale chaser. That is a whale slayer, not chaser. He's
Yeah,
a fucking
yeah.
slayer. He's fucking slaying these.
certified.
But he's also the one that taught me, like, bring your own glass to a festival, bro. That way you get a pour and then you keep walking around and get another pour.
Wait, what did you just say?
Bring your own glass to a
Holy- hold on.
festival.
Chris, that was my brain said the same thing.
Yeah, it's like yeah,
Technically, they're only allowed to pour into their own glass. But if
But,
you
yeah.
grab your pour and pour it into another glass,
Yep. Oh yeah, I've done that.
Okay, I was gonna
Yep.
say, how do you know what glass to
yeah, I see
bring?
Matt in the background over here. He's like, what? What?
You
So-
just
So
transfer.
I had no
you
idea.
double sip?
Yep.
I had no idea that people were doing that.
See, this is why we do it. We're doing this for the people right now.
We're doing
This
this
is
for the people.
You're welcome.
Someone out there right now
Holy
is
shit.
super angry. There's like
So
someone's super mad right now. These fucking hype boys.
I've been going. It's like, dude, I've been going to festivals for how long?
Unless you are running the
Yeah.
festival, we never do this.
Yeah.
So,
We don't
yeah,
do that
so-
at all.
no, I mean, I highly discourage. You know, it's
but
like,
if you're gonna do
it's like
it,
our
I
lawyers,
highly encourage
our
plastic.
lawyers right now are looking at us, and the
They're less likely to turn your own glass away if you carry plastic. So if you're gonna do it, I would recommend plastic. But yeah, so Foster was the one that taught me this, right?
fuck.
So so while I give Steve his pour of Assassin, I go and I meet up with Foster because he just happened to be there. And he had like a double pour of fucking Bake. So he's like, "Here, bro, you want to try it?" I'm
I happen to have a glass.
yeah.
Yes.
I was like,
Have an extra-
I was like, yeah.
I've got 3 glasses, dude. Pour it up, bitch.
But he changed the way I do festivals because that was 2 years ago. That was the Mostra before this.
Have you been
Ruben,
doing? So you've been doing
Why
this?
haven't why haven't
you
you
been-
told us?
Yeah. What the fuck?
I didn't do it this last time because there was those protests this year at downtown during the Mostra
Against
event.
Second Cups?
Oh no, I know what you're talking about. There was some kind of rally or something.
There was I think it was a women's rally or something. I forget what it was, but
Very good cause. Very good cause.
maybe I don't know. Maybe they were dicks. Maybe
Yeah.
they were just out there.
Well, it must have been without that.
if they were women, how could they be dicks?
Yeah. It's the
Maybe
same.
Yeah.
they were
How-
clicks. I mean-
How is it?
But
We'll let this all out in post. It's
But
all right.
I carried it light because I didn't know how how close our Uber was going to be able to get to us. you
Yeah,
know?
one more cup was dragging you down.
So I just didn't. I didn't want to do it. 'cause
Now
know-
I can't go to a festival without an extra cup.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I did. I'm
don't blow
like,
up the spot.
I
Don't
don't-
put this on a podcast because then people are going to find out.
Yeah. Well, it's the first episode. No one's listening anyway.
Yeah, that's true. But but that changed the way I do festivals because now you have because before it's like you slam it because you want to get the next board, especially if there's no line at the station. Like you want to slam it and pour it in the next board. Now you just grab it, put it in your cup, and grab your second
Ruben,
one.
I thought the smartest guys at the festivals are the ones that had the necklaces of pretzels.
Those are the douchebags.
But now you think about it, what if you had a necklace of cups?
That's too obvious.
I apologize.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
apologize.
that
to
would
the
spill.
ones-
You
One
have
cup.
the necklace of pretzels
But
to throw everyone off, and
You'd
then
be
you
wearing
have
all your
the cargo
pores.
If
shorts.
you have a pretzel necklace at a fucking festival, I hate you. I hate you. There's no other way around it. Like
It's not a
You
bad.
hate
It's not.
me.
Yeah.
You're like,
So-
you
"Can I
hate
have-
you.
Can I have a bite of your necklace,
that,
please?
no.
Haven't I seen you with the press? No, Shane.
No, not
all of this festival going advice will be super useful when festivals come back because festivals are all dead right now. R.I.P.
Mistake.
because
Well,
you,
dude, next
And
time
the-
festival, it's
I
going to
know,
be
it is
masked
true.
up, dude. I mean,
And the
yeah,
festival
Now-
we've been
now think
talking
that
about is
pretzel
the
douchebag,
Moisture
right? Think about
That
Festival.
pretzel douchebag, he's walking around people coughing, sneezing, and everything, all of the things that he's consuming. That's fucking gross. That was
No,
gross pre-COVID.
That's your
Like-
COVID. No,
I don't know
no.
if gross plays into it, but
You're the one talking about sipping drinks with
but this
other
actually
people.
there's actually
It's
good.
just
But
as
it's
gross.
kind of actually
Yeah,
a good
but
segue.
We've all gone
the
in
alcohol
shares.
kills it, you know?
Yeah, alcohol kills it. I mean,
Yeah.
Well,
true,
it's kind of
true, true.
it's actually kind of a good segue. We were talking about how it would be with like COVID and stuff, and one of the things we wanted to talk about. This is not necessarily going to be recurring, but just one thing I wanted to talk about. It's the first episode. Obviously, it's kind of undeniable right now. It's like we're in December 2020, and COVID is a thing, and just kind of want to talk about the state of craft beer during the pandemic, and so. One of the things, what breweries are doing it well, which breweries are not doing it well. There's certain there's certain policies and stuff. Some things like not all things have been bad, right? Like I guess I'll start like one of the things I don't terribly hate is that some of the growler surprise, surprise, I like growler stuff. But the way that the growler laws have kind of progressed in California is way better than it used to be. Like you can get, because before, like in Oregon, you could get like a mason jar filled at a gas station if they had taps. You know what I mean? But in California, they had to be like a growler from the actual brewery that you're getting a fill from, sealed. Like all these different things, and like sometimes even if you like. They could, breweries used to be able, they could probably fill a growler from another place, but a lot of times they just wouldn't. And
monkish.
yeah, there's Society was like big time assholes about that shit, which was funny because they didn't can anything and they like still, it was like a thing. But now with the new things, I mean, you can get a soup cup filled with beer these days, and like that to me is a step in the right direction. I feel like because you should be able to especially something that's not readily available. Particularly in these times. But I just like the idea of being able to have that that freedom a little bit. I think there's no harm in foul.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is that we live in California where there's so much legislation for everything. Because I believe
Thanks, Newsom. No, shit, no.
filling other growlers changed though. Didn't that law change like in 2017 or something where you could fill any growler as long as the logo was covered or
Yeah,
something
you
like
had to
that?
like tape it or something
Well,
like that.
that was baby steps.
Yeah, so that
Yeah,
was
so it was baby
steps.
steps, but it still was like.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm happy about
Now
it.
it's a free for all, and I love
But
it.
They
I'm
was,
here
but
for
the other
it.
thing that was not cool though, like specifically, is you had to still you could only get fills from like the brewery
Oh,
or like
yeah.
a tap room, right? Like it would be cool is if you can go to like a dope beer bar that's got like that will bring in beers from outside the area or something. If you could do that in Oregon. You couldn't do that here, but now you could actually get dude, you can, like I said, like Regal Seagull, which is a local beer bar here, you could go there and get like fills.
Yeah,
So that's really cool.
shout out to Tavern at the Vogue, the homies spot down in Chula Vista. I believe he had a Pliny for President keg that he was filling in growlers. So
What was this place called?
Tavern at the Vogue. It's like a German style restaurant. They have craft beer on tap, and then they have pretzels and
I love that
schnitzels
beer.
and
That sounds
was
legit as
thinking
hell.
about that one.
cool spot. Shout out to the doctor out there, Dr. Q.
Damn, that's some
Um,
old school style shit.
But yeah, so when this all started, it was awesome because the thing that sucks about COVID is like you see how cool the community is because like he was a restaurant and we had that toilet paper shortage, right? Like at the beginning of
we
the
all know.
pandemic.
It's probably gonna happen again.
We had that, but he was selling like toilet paper because he gets commercial sized boxes, so he was selling toilet paper for people.
What a good guy.
Like, it was cool, but like going along with like the beer part about it, like I believe he had a keg of Pliny for President that he was filling in 32-ounce crowd. That's awesome because a lot of people didn't get it. I was lucky enough to get a couple of 4-packs on the couple of releases, but to be able to just walk up to a spot and just have it filled, that's awesome. And going along with the loosened up regulations, I love the beer shipping. Like, I love the beer shipping.
Yeah, dude.
Shout out
Dude,
to
I mean, we're drinking Monkish right now because of that shit.
because of that. Shout out to Matt because I know Matt doesn't miss a Sarah release. Like he buys all the Sante Adarius sales, all of them.
I think he's.
I'm
probably
okay with
loosened
that.
up on that. I was getting a lot lot of those too.
He probably
For a minute, but
yeah. but I love the shipping, and for me, my biggest joy was again I butchered it the first time we did this on the Lost episode.
the Lost episode.
I'm probably gonna butcher it now, but Enegren, like getting crispy boys delivered to my front door is phenomenal. And they did their collab with Beer Stout,
best.
which was fucking great. Like I got I think 5 4-packs and crushed them all like within a couple of weeks.
Also, the breweries have adapted. They've figured out they've made outside spaces. They've brought in food. I mean, a lot of breweries that never even served food have been figuring it out, and they'll have. I even went to Bergen, and I've done this twice. I went and ate and drank, and then I was like, "Oh, let me go to a brewery and have a beer." And then you forget that they're like, you have to order food. But even some of them, they're like, "Hey, you don't even have to eat it here. Get it to go, or buy some chips." Or,
that's one of the rules I
easy,
don't like.
Yeah,
That's
easy
one
on
of the
the
ones I
like.
don't like.
Well, no,
There's
but I'm
one-
saying,
That's one of
but,
the ones I don't like.
but that's not the
No.
brewery's fault.
Oh yeah,
The breweries
that's,
are
you're saying
adapting.
so you're saying that's the thing that you don't necessarily love that.
No,
Yeah.
I'm saying kudos to the breweries that have figured it out and made it still enjoyable,
Yeah,
and made their tap rooms outside that never had outside spaces, that brought in
that is that
nice
part. That part of
chairs
it
and
is cool. The
umbrellas
outside,
and-
like we were at, dude.
like
we were,
Virgin has a whole outside space right
Dude,
now.
Yeah, they have that outside space. Remember, we also went to 8-Bit recently, and they had a fucking crazy because they have a pretty big parking lot there. 8-Bit, they're in Temecula area, and they have a big parking lot. And I was like, it was actually a different part of the parking lot than I thought they would have blocked off. And like they're like, we get there, it's like obviously you can't really eat inside. Their normal outside patio is pretty big, but you could see it was like filled up. And I was like, damn, dude, we're not gonna. There's no way we're gonna. They're like, oh yeah, we have like our beer garden in the back, and I was like, thought it was gonna be kind of lame or something, and it was like fat, and it was like. It was cool. It was the way to do it.
8-Bit is
Yeah.
the food is phenomenal there, man.
That's right, yeah.
I love their food. Their food is so good. Their beer is pretty good.
Yeah.
But the
Dude,
homeboy Dan,
they're-
left.
yeah,
Shout out to
well,
Dan.
dude, he's going. I mean, obviously he was pretty good because he's gonna go brew for other half
Other
now.
half, yeah. Shout out to our boy Dan.
Dude, we have to go to Washington, dude.
But yeah, their staff is always awesome. But I love that. I love that people are adapting to the new rules as they come down. But one of the things that really surprised me is how many breweries don't take advantage of the fact that we live in San Diego. Like, why did it take a
That's-
pandemic
Being outside,
to have outdoor patios?
dude. Well, because the ABC, dude. Because the stuff
Yeah,
that they're doing right now,
exactly.
they weren't allowed to do it before.
Yeah, they had a
They're only
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying is they're
nudge,
loosening
nudge,
it up
look,
now.
look.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, if you see how they're doing it, like, I mean, the people are in their parking lots. You know what I mean? Like, there's
Some
there's
are
all
better
sorts
than
of crazy
others.
Like, I mean, think about like if you've ever shared, not that I would ever recommend this, but if you've ever shared beers in line at a pickup or something, there's like weird. The breweries sometimes have to come down on people because it wasn't chill to do that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so that's like this whole thing. It's like it's loosened because it's the only way to have people in their spot. But yeah, if going forward, like what would be ultimate is if going forward they're able to have once like I said, like if once we get past some of this stuff, they're able to get back to normal business, but then still keep some of that ability. That would be pretty dope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's one thing. Like
The beer shipping within state, because like Russian River has been shipping. Like if you're lucky enough to score, like they're planning for president, Pliny bottles,
Mhm.
Blind Pig. They did what's their Mind Circus? I think it is. They're hazy.
I'm curious to see
Yeah.
if those make the Hall of Fame.
I wonder if Pliny's gonna make the Hall of Fame. Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
yeah, I feel like some people
Oh,
are listening to
yeah.
this,
Yeah,
but
I
like
don't
this is
know.
blasphemous. How did Pliny not get in there?
He,
Matt's giving us a thumbs down over there.
That's because he's a haze
What do you-
boy.
he's
He's
probably-
a haze boy.
He's more of a blind. He's
still-
more of a blind pig kind of guy.
He's
No.
wet behind the ears, smelling like Similac still. Like
Hey, easy there, Stephen A. Smith, motherfucker. Smelling like Similac.
but it has to come.
If you listen to sports radio, or just probably Stephen A. in general, you know.
We have to talk about it because like Matt, I love Matt. He's such a good dude. But like maybe 2 years ago, like I used to see him like at the little shares that you had, you know, in Encinitas, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I don't like coffee beers. I don't like stouts." Like he wouldn't drink any of the stouts.
It's
And-
about the sour. It's about the sour life for sure.
and
That was the first.
now-
That's what hooked him. That's what
and-
hooks you. You know, you always have that one style that hooks you. You know what I
Now he's balls deep in the game.
mean? Dude,
Like he jumped in head first.
big balls.
He's big balls deep in the game. Like
Well, it sucks you in. I mean, if you know, they just takes the hand and you're
it's
in
like,
it.
It's like one of those things. It's like when you like. It's like watching somebody like listen to. It's like watching somebody listen to like Ride the Lightning for the first time. Like you see them enjoy.
Trying to catch that dragon. You know.
You see them
Come get
enjoy
me.
the beauty of like Fade to Black or the Call of Cthulhu. You just see them
Oh.
enjoying it.
He's making a move over here.
He's like
What's going
he's
on?
loving it, and I'm like, man, I remember.
Is he gonna pull out a
I remember
coffee
that
stout?
feeling.
No.
That's why I'm still in beer because I'm chasing that feeling, and, and it's awesome. I love it.
I feel like this beer is illegal.
In a couple of years, I'll give him like 2 or 3 years. He's gonna be like, damn, I'm done with the sugar water.
Matt, do you have anything to say?
I don't know if he'll ever be done with the sugar. I feel like he's already getting into the brown water though. I feel like that's like a move. Like that's like a 5 year.
skipped-
That's
he
like a
skipped,
five.
like,
That's
10
like a
steps.
5 year deep move. And
He's
like
zigzagging
going,
it.
He's skipped 10
Yeah,
steps.
he's exactly.
He's skipped 10 steps. Eventually, he'll end up on loggers. Eventually, he's working his way back to that.
He's shaking his head feverishly right now.
Drinking your crispy boy.
Yeah.
Crispy boys for life.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm actually starting
He said-
OnlyFans.
Matt says it's
Ruben gets
bullshit.
Friskies with Crispies. It's gonna be me in my underwear slamming Crispy boys. If anybody wants to see that, like
I do kind of want to see that
for
actually.
like $5.99 a month, I think that's a good. That's a good.
We do have
Patreon
video
or,
capabilities here. We can start it right now.
I don't know if he wants to see me in my underwear in his barn right now.
Zach is he's a dad. We're talking to Zach over here, our producer.
he's open-minded, so that
Yeah,
might be
exactly.
happening, guys. But
Continue listening.
Zach might start us
and-
off. You know? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, hey, whoa. Oh my God, put your pants back on, dude.
Episode 2 is going to be great.
but yeah,
Can't wait.
Episode's gonna be wild.
so I just went on this tangent that completely derailed the conversation,
Yeah.
but I think that's why I'm here.
Yeah,
Joel, the state of craft beer under COVID.
yeah. Thank you.
You're
Thank
the
you.
wise one here.
Yeah. Oh no. So I mean, what I was gonna say is, so I'll go with the pros first. I'll just go with good news first. What I really like about the state of craft beer under the pandemic has been again, to echo, what other people have already said, like Ali said, the inventiveness of breweries. Some breweries, like we mentioned, Society Brewing, which is a local San Diego brewery here, that previous to the pandemic, basically all of their stuff was draft only. Draft accounts around town at bars and restaurants, and they had just invested in a canning line and a packaging system right before the pandemic, so it was super fortuitous timing for them. Yeah, and now their beer is in like every just humdrum normal grocery store around locally, and it's getting distributed farther. So in a weird way, the pandemic has facilitated for breweries that were able to do the packaging pivot with regard to cans. Their distribution footprint has probably expanded much faster and farther and wider than it ever would have before. And that's one of the interesting things that I've noticed during the pandemic. For the breweries that failed to do the packaging thing, there's still the relaxation of the rules with regard to growler fills. There's bars and breweries that were filling, mason jars with beer, which I think is so cool.
Dude, like I was saying, Regal Seagull was literally filling like soup cups.
Dude.
Yeah.
That was some shit.
I hope they keep some of this. I hope one day California grows up and then we could drink on the beach. Because how awesome
know,
would how
seriously.
awesome
That's
would
like
it
the
be?
biggest natural resource we
to-
got. We can't
Yeah,
fucking drink
Europe
beer on
is
it. Like,
fine.
You
Yeah,
could just
we'll get
imagine
there.
grabbing like a sweet cocktail from like a bar, like in in the village in Carlsbad or something, or downtown Oceanside, and then just like walking to the
dude,
beach.
we
just
can't
chilling.
fucking do it. Like, we can't have nice things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I don't know
we're-
how other countries get
That's a
like,
nice
we
way to
said like,
put it.
dude, going around like I was in Berlin and I was talking to this dude. He was like an American living in Berlin. I was like, what's the most Berlin shit you can do? He's like, the most Berlin shit you can do. He's like, go grab a fucking 22 from a liquor store and walk around and drink it on the street. That's the most Berlin thing you can do. And it's like almost any like European country you can think of. Like it's usually like kind of it's more common, I'd say, that you can drink on the street. Like you can kind of drink out and about if you want to.
Yeah, no,
Then
you can.
not. You know what I
And
mean?
it's
It's
not
not
a
like dude.
problem.
There was bars. If a bar
Las
was too
Vegas,
packed, dude, we
I
were at
guess
this
you
place
can.
in Rome, dude. Oh, dude. Shout out to my boy Ariel, Ariel Druck, dude. He was telling me like, it's like this place. What was the name of that? Like Asiete. No, Ruben, don't open that shit. I gotta open this.
It was
next.
in
Here, you pour
translation. It
yourself
said,
first.
"What did you come here for?" Or "Why did
Yeah.
you come here?"
I'll have to post this in the show notes or something on the Instagram so I can
Shout
so I
out
can
to
show
Ari,
this up.
though,
Yeah,
'cause he's
Dude.
one of the live.
dude, he's a real dude. He's a
Oh,
real
Ari, you
dude.
guys
He's a
will
real
meet
one.
Ari. He's one of the
Yeah,
best.
so he saw me post a picture about the podcast, and he's like, "Dude, sign me up for an episode." and anybody
My
who's
man.
in the San Diego scene and that knows Ari, he's like one of the sweetest dudes of all time.
You can
Big time
challenge
sweetheart.
him with a travel destination, and he probably knows somebody that knows somebody
Yeah.
and has a great beer to go
But
to.
I want to before I
bar
forget,
to go to.
Joel, what was the brewery that you were talking about that expanded their? I was passing a beer around when you were saying it. What was the brewery that you said expanded their distribution with the
Society.
Society, right?
Oh yeah, Society did. Yeah, and as a matter of fact, they expanded their production in 2020 after shifting to I don't even know what percent, but like majority of their beer is going out packaged now.
Well, they got super
Uh,
lucky, right? Because they decided to expand their shit right before the pandemic hit.
That's what Joel
That's
said.
literally-
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
literally
So-
right before.
But if you weren't, but if you weren't society,
have timed
that's,
it better.
that's kind of where if you weren't society though, right now, like what I hear, there's like a big time shortage of cans and shit. So it's like if you
There
didn't
is.
already, it's like most breweries, whatever you planned on doing, because most breweries were planning on doing some sort of cans and then also a certain amount in kegs for bars. Them and also themselves in-house stuff, but all that stuff that was planned for bars, basically anything that was planned for kegs is now planned for
Can
cans.
releases.
And with like, I don't know if it's just straight up aluminum can shortages or like because of like tariffs with like China or stuff, but essentially cans and all that stuff are like hard to get right now.
And shout out to Society, man, because Society for the longest time is one of the better breweries in San Diego, but they just didn't
Dude,
have
they
the reach.
fucking missed the boat, dude. Like that one guy, like I'm glad. I mean, hopefully, I think it's all gonna work out business wise. But that one dude, I think his name was Travis. He was like one of the co-owners, and he basically got booted out like sometime last year. And he was like just a purist. You know what I mean? He's like, they make great stouts, regular stouts, but they never barrel age a stout. They made these wild ales, and they didn't release one for like 4 fucking years until after they started the brewery because it was like the result was really good. They made probably the best, one of the top West Coast IPAs. It would rival for sure Pliny the Elder.
Their stuff rivals
Like
anybody.
the Pupil, like what I'm talking about is the Pupil. You know
Pupil
what I
and
mean? Like
the
Pupil
Apprentice.
I would go to Churchill's, like that's our local,
Yep.
like in North County. That's our fucking that was the mecca, and they in San Diego, the mecca of craft beer. I'll still call it that. They won like craft beer bar of the year like 6 years in a row or something. So this place was like legit, and it's like it'd be like you get there and it's like you don't have to ask. It's like Pupil first. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it was
people
legit.
there.
Dude, and what I love about Society though is that they may be late to the game, but they're still producing fire.
People are
Like-
gonna buy it, especially in San Diego. People in San Diego know what the fuck is up
They're
with it.
underrated and overproducing like great
But the problem
beers.
is, I don't know if their
Yeah.
reach, how far outside of Southern California or even San Diego that reach goes.
Since we're talking about COVID, I want to mention them specifically because I have been to a couple of breweries during the pandemic, and their beer
Society you're talking
starting- yeah, they've handled it the best. All their tables are spaced out. There's plenty of seating. That whole lower part of their parking lot is all blocked off.
Oh
And-
shit! Okay, yeah, they do have a little because they're like in the business park area, so they
Yeah,
got some space.
So their spot is dope because you're.
That's like
spaced
That's
out.
how the 8-bit one is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's almost better. It's like if they can kind of continue this type of shit.
That's
like
what I'm saying.
dude,
It's not equal.
It'd be
Yeah, if
fucking
they could
dope.
take
Who
over
can
that
make
parking
it
lot and
great?
just have like an outdoor beer garden there, it would be so dope.
Dude.
And
So I
then-
had to interrupt you. This where you popped the Parabola like 2017, dude. This thing is banging right now.
2017,
Sorry.
dude.
It's
That's a
really
nice,
good.
sweet undertone.
I like
man.
it. It's got a good amount of like. It's not too like oxidized or whatever yet, and like,
Yeah.
dude, this is a Hall of Fame contender as
That's a Hall
well,
of Fame
dude. This
contender.
could have
Eventually, you'll get in. There's a lot of beers that
probably even other Firestone before Parabola. Even we think, or is that like
I think Parabola or Parabola's number one because I
it's
think
kind of the best one?
because barrel
Is Parabola is the thing about it? It's
the barrel aged.
is it
imperial
oatmeal
stout.
or is that Velvet Merkin? I'm
That's
thinking of?
Velvet American.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Society, their beer garden is super dope, and they've made some amazing beers during this time. I believe one of them is like For the People. I believe is one of the what's it's called, and then I posted another one because they're just making bangers. They're making bangers.
Banging when you're banging, dude.
And the pedigree for Society, the people don't know them because they like we've said they don't can anything. They didn't can anything before
That's
this
what I'm
year.
saying, dude. Like a bit.
So you're saying canning is easier access? I mean, obviously it's
Well, it's
less
like marketing. You know what I mean? It's like a little billboard on every fucking product. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
think they only bottled.
but
like,
yeah, and
one-
more access. But yes, more access though for sure.
Yeah, I believe they bottled the Butcher like in 2017, 2018, and that was like the first bottle. Like it was a big deal. And then they bottled like the Thief, I think it was, which is one of their wild ales. So those were the only two beers people could get outside of the brewery because they only did their own growlers. You had to buy one of their growlers.
And their growlers were expensive as fuck.
Oh,
It's like,
that's
these were
right.
like
The
honking
insulated ones.
motherfuckers. Like, dude.
Yeah. So you had to buy their growler or you had to get them on draft. And they only had select accounts that had their beer on draft. So anyone outside of San Diego probably doesn't know about Society, but they're one of the best breweries in San Diego. Like if you visit San Diego, Society is
The best.
nailing what they're doing. Like the only thing I mean my only complaint to them even before the pandemic was like I'm an adult and they wouldn't let me get more than like 2 tasters at a time. So it's just
Like they didn't do flights and stuff. You're saying?
Yeah. So it's like
Yeah, it's kind of lame.
it's kind of lame because I'm like
Getting tasters kind of lame. Don't just kidding. No.
you know well
Get a
yeah,
pint,
there's-
dude.
There's some
You can only get 2 at a time.
But-
2 at a time.
Oh.
You know I'm an alcoholic, not a Barbie.
Well,
You know,
like-
I need more than 2 tasters at a time because sometimes you don't know what you want.
Yeah.
and you know.
You know what I like to order are a half pour. It was a thing for a little while. I don't know if that's still.
They still do.
They-
have
You know what I
pours,
mean?
by
Because
the
then
way,
it's
yeah.
like it's more than a taster,
If you
but
get
it's
2
less
half
than a
pours,
pint.
that would be some shit.
Well,
Because if you're
Chris
gonna
and
give
I
me a
would
pint, if
order
you're
a
gonna give me a
beer.
pint, why not give me 2 fucking half pours, right? Like we're probably better margin for them, right?
I was just gonna
Well,
say you
I
probably
feel like
pay
did we
more.
ever do that? Like I don't think we've ever.
I think
done
Well,
we did it
You know how
not
I
at the same
drink beer.
time when we ordered them.
If I could, I'd order 2 pints. I don't think they let me, but like I would order 2 pints.
that. Depends on where you're at.
Especially like Society because it's like if I'm drinking the Eris, which is their Czech Pilsner,
You're
Like,
just down in that. dude.
I'm downing that, dude. That's those Krispies are my life right now. So I would be just downing that, but they only let me get 1 at a time, and that kind of sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to talk too
Drinking
much.
responsible.
I mean, I don't want to talk about too much of like the. I mean, I think we all know what the negatives are of the like
Yeah.
pandemic, but what about breweries that aren't doing it so well? You think? Like, we,
Obviously, the ones that are closing.
rest in peace.
And maybe that's kind of how it should have been. You know, I mean,
I
the
think, to be honest,
strongest of
I
the-
think one.
the strongest will survive. And
Yeah, I think there was
this is
because
something we all shared, right? Go ahead, Chris.
well, I think that there's like there was already. I think there was kind of a I don't say consensus, but there was definitely breweries that shouldn't be around, and some of the ones. The one thing I would say is about the COVID is it's been helping. It's been accelerating that process of letting some of those like finally fizzle out. It's taken some good. I never want to dance on anybody's grave, so I'm not going to like name any names, but it's definitely like
I will.
I think it's progressed. Some of that stuff that people predicted would happen.
Yeah, I mean, we've all been at shares or whatever. I know this topic comes up a lot, especially because I bring it up all the time. But I would be hard pressed to pick like 15 really good breweries in San Diego.
Yeah, you say that shit.
I always say this, and someone's gonna get mad at me, and that's fine. I'm open for discussion, but
But what was the one? But were you gonna say someone that?
it's
Had-
like. But there's so if we really because we have an oversaturation of breweries in San Diego, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's like we're in the Mecca. I mean, we're the top.
We're the craft beer capital of the world.
Yeah, I mean,
per capita,
Dude,
we
but
have
we're
the
like
most
the
breweries.
we're like the best, like how Stone's the best craft brewery kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's like people think like San Diego. We ain't fucking. The thing is, we ain't fucking sexy,
But
dude.
Like
Rivers-
Stone has the volume, but
yeah,
it
that's
doesn't
like
have the
that's
best
that's same thing
beer.
with San Diego. We got the volume of like, oh, we got the most breweries, but who gives a shit? Like,
I mean, this might be a can of worms to ask, but what makes you the best brewery? Is it the ambiance? Is it the beer? Is it the consistency?
It's the beer. Fuck
Is
the
it-
ambiance.
I know, but is
I
it?
can't
but-
say fuck
yeah,
yeah.
but like,
Like
yeah,
if you
but-
have killer beer and then like two places of killer beer and then the other one's like the
Well,
experience
what if you have
going
one
there
great
is like,
beer and then
oh,
everything else
shit.
sucks? I mean, I don't
Well,
know.
like,
It's hard.
Well, maybe this is a good way.
I agree with what you guys are saying. Ambiance has a little something to do with it because there's definitely
it's not-
breweries that I visit just because it's not going to be as crowded. It's kind of cool to hang out there.
Some people go to shitty breweries. I mean, they go to great breweries that have shitty beer.
Yeah.
Bruce brother.
I mean, we're not going to say them.
I'm not saying any names,
Yeah.
but like,
But I guess maybe
all
they're
I'm
not
saying
there for
is
the
that
beer.
in Oceanside, there's only one good brewery.
Conscious sales.
Well,
That's
Just
right.
getting too
all right,
soon.
And Horace.
Just
two
getting too soon.
brick and mortar
It's not a
Yeah.
breweries. There's
Yeah,
only
you're
one
right.
good brewery.
Northern Pine?
What was that, Joel?
Isn't Northern Pine in Oceanside?
No, that wouldn't be my choice, but
Okay.
Is that a no for you, Doug?
I don't-
that's a no for me, dog.
I don't think we're oversaturated. I don't personally think that we're oversaturated in San Diego.
You
I
see,
think
you
there's
don't
been a
think we are?
healthy evolution because you have places like North Park Beer Company, you have places like Modern Times Beer Company, like you have these newer breweries. Which you think about it, Modern Times is not that old. North Park is not that old.
Yeah, I see what you're
You're
saying,
right,
but when
you're
we
right.
when we have like what 158 breweries or something like that.
We have a
It
lot,
was,
like,
but,
maybe
but
107.
there's definitely a market for your home neighborhood backyard brewery, and there's a few places I think that fit that niche, if you want to call it. Like there's the model that Stone followed, that Ballast Point followed, that Sierra Nevada followed. That's no longer a viable model where you expand to a nationwide distribution footprint. But if you can get like a rabid local base of like local fans to like deplete and sell out your supply and then trade it across the country, like North Park, like even Modern Times, which has distribution up and down the West Coast now, and they're a little bit of an anomaly in that way. Even
Well, you
like
just named
Stave and
the two best-
Nail, some
in
of
my
these newer
opinion, you just-
breweries that are doing a
But
great
you're
job
naming
of.
breweries with a good
No.
pedigree. We're
Yeah.
not talking. Those are going to survive. Those breweries are going to survive. But I
Well,
mean, Modern
yeah,
Times
no,
stretched itself a little thin right now because they've opened up all these locations
And they're surviving
right before the
because
pandemic.
the beer, the ambiance,
But I would yeah.
all of it, right?
Well, that could be hard to say because I know some friends of mine who hate going to Modern Times because it's like hipster central, and he just doesn't. As an older dude, he's just like, dude, I don't like going in there.
Yeah, I guess
It's
maybe
not
that's
your
why there
vibe. It's
are
not
so
your
many.
vibe. But I think Joel's
He
talking
doesn't
more
like
to just like they're
macrame.
I think you're talking, Joel, like you're talking more to like the pull of Modern Times in North Park, how those, like you said, they're not, I guess like Modern Times does have like their distribution. They do have that arm of it, but they like you said, they will pull nationwide
Yeah.
and stuff. And I really do think those are actually the two best breweries in San Diego right now. I'd say North Park and Modern Times.
I'd say AleSmith in Modern Times.
What is this horse beer? Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, so we're drinking. Yeah, we're drinking. I think this is this a maybe Matt. Was this a Freaky Friday one?
It tastes like
It's
banana.
just an EQ. It's
but
just
I
an
don't know if
EQ
that's
collab
right.
with him.
Hey, Horace is in Oceanside too.
Like I
Brick-
said, I stand by my one
Brick-
good brewery in Oceanside. And
So this is a
and-
Scepter. We're drinking just to
and they
give
actually have a tasting room.
just to give people the insight here. We are drinking a Scepter. I think that's or a Scepter.
I
It's probably some kind of bird. It's
I hate-
it's looks like I mean I'm pointing to the camera here. This guy.
Oh, I don't know.
Scepter.
I can't tell.
Oh,
I can't
you got a
wait.
pour?
You're over here.
Oh, I see. Okay, hang on. Let me switch cameras. Oh, okay. No, I never had it. There's like a
Matt
big
saying
orange
Ruben can't
wire
have
in
any.
front of me.
So the thing with me and Horace, I think it's
Yeah.
more of it's like a caricature more than it is reality. I just at this point I'm seen as a Horace hater, so I kind of play into that.
But-
I think that's what
You're
I-
you're the devil's advocate. You're like the guy on the other side. Like
Yeah.
Horace is great. Yeah.
when he makes a good beer, I
Wink.
give it to Kyle. And at
Yeah.
the same time, Kyle is a really nice dude. I've met him, he's a good dude.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
a nice dude.
He's a real person that you can
Yeah.
actually talk to.
Yeah,
You know, he's approachable.
To
he's
be
nice.
fair, I'm salty because he blocked me on Instagram for like the mildest comment. To be fair, that's where it all stemmed
Yeah.
from.
That's
It's
the
like
reason
saying,
we
yeah,
invited you
censorship
on this
is not gentlemen.
podcast is because
But,
you got banned.
just to
I'm
read-
gonna ruffle some feathers, if you will.
Oh.
Are you gonna
I'll just read off the
splash
description of
bird bath?
the Acepeter real quick. Just so
Can I
you-
just get a pour? I don't.
No, sorry, Imperial Stout brewed with coconut macaroons. So it's not just coconut; it's with coconut macaroons. That's kind of Thai bananas and
Oh, it
cacao
is
nibs.
banana. I'm so glad you said that because I
You're
was
like,
like,
"Am I getting
this is banana.
This is
Not
bananas.
bananas,
Yeah,
but
this is
banana.
bananas, dude.
I don't think we can sing that song without pain.
Yeah, I was gonna say I had a Horace joke, but I decided to flip it for some lambic.
Oh, you wish you could flip horse for lambic.
Dude, I had flipped Taurus for lambic, bro. Like some good.
What, like 2 years ago?
No, it was I traded a Snatchers, which was this year, I think.
What'd you
Right?
trade it
Was
for?
Snatchers this year?
Hey man,
No,
here's
that
a
was
little
last
bit of
year.
this.
Okay. But dude, I traded a 12-ounce Horace bottle for 2 Fufan. Speaking of which, yeah.
Yeah.
Allie was real happy about that one.
Well, I told Chris, ISO, you have to get me one.
Yeah.
It was
So
great.
you can, yeah, I mean, yeah, you get, yeah, dude. I mean, just in general, I mean, I traded some Mostratones for a Lou Pepe Goose, like 2013,
Ooh, that was
dude.
another
That
good
was
one.
like, dude, I was like,
I was
I
like,
can't
Chris,
believe
keep it
that type
coming.
of shit goes. You know what I mean? It's like,
All right.
come on, yeah, of course I'm gonna make that trade, and especially when
it's
Mostratones,
a
and especially
win-win
when Mostratones like
people.
found out, like once it started, I traded it. Literally, it must have been like a few days before people started to notice it started to turn, because that one ended up getting affected. And so, yeah, I made out like a bandit.
Well, it
with that
is the risk. You know.
Hey, that's
You gotta
get
play
the cards.
game.
You get the cards. You get the cards.
You got no.
Well, and that's the
when
beauty
to
of
hold 'em.
beers because It's
no
always-
when
to fold 'em.
it's always greener.
when to
Oh,
walk
away. No when to run. Sorry. We're not that drunk. We're not that drunk. But maybe this is a good spot to transition to our next another segment here that we want to talk about. This is one of the things we wanted to bring this out in the first episode because I feel like it'll help us, viewers get to know us a little bit better. Is Beer City Bucket List.
Man,
So maybe we'll start with we'll start with Joel
it's
on
not
the
San Diego.
yeah, somewhere other than San Diego. But we'll start with some Beer City bucket lists. Where you want to go? Why do you want to go there?
Yeah. Apropos of nothing. So Beer City bucket list. One of mine is Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh, nice.
You just
I
wanna
already,
do
never-
mushrooms, bro. Just let us know. You just want to do mushrooms.
did they legalize it or something over there?
No, but like Asheville's like hippie central. Like,
Oh, gotcha. Okay, I did not know.
You
that.
I
Yeah,
have never been. There's a ton of breweries there. There's a lot of just lesser known, not widely distributed breweries that they might make it over to Georgia and stuff like that. I've always heard it's a great place. I would love to go there. Sounds like a fun spot.
Any particular breweries there that you're interested in?
Wicked Weeds, bro.
Yeah, right.
I have one. I'm gonna wait to say it before, unless Joel says it.
You were gonna ask, but I want to say, is Burial there?
Yes,
Burial is
that's
there.
the one. That's like the one.
Probably
dude.
the number
They
one.
Look
Yeah.
like they're making some fucking flamethrower.
What's that
fucking,
donut stout they have? Is it called donut stout?
It's called Skillet,
It's
right?
probably called
Skillet.
something.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
They have cool names for their shit. They don't just like
Skillet. What?
I don't know. I mean, maybe it's it's
Skillet
branding.
donut?
I
What
don't.
is that?
I can't recall a. I must have had one at some point, but I can't recall a burial beer I've had. But they look like they're doing a good job on their Instagram, at least. Like their pictures, how they describe that shit.
They're a
It
fun
looks
brewery.
fucking
They're a
good.
fun brewery.
Yeah, they're cool,
Yeah, Asheville's
Yep.
cool, man. North
And there's a
Carolina's, North Carolina's beautiful.
dude.
man.
Asheville's like San Diego East. Almost.
There you go. That's mine. That's my pick.
No, that's a good one. Rubes.
I'm gonna go. Here's the thing. I'm split between two, but I'm gonna go with one just because.
We can talk about more than one. Like you don't have to just be like, and if like I
Yeah,
said, we
this
can come back
isn't a Hall
around.
of
We can
Fame
come back to you,
There's
Joseph.
way more than one, but I think one that I haven't scratched off my bucket list that I gotta do is Richmond, Virginia.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
The answer, obviously, they're the
Yes.
butt of many jokes because of the fruit smoothie things that they make.
But they do more than that too, though.
Yeah, they do. Their
They do
stouts
alright.
are phenomenal. They had a
they're
stout
cool.
that
They're a cool brewery.
okay, so if I'm talking about the answer, they had this stout for what was it, PIFA a couple years ago, the Pacific Islander Festival that's held here in San Diego.
It's not this beer's good.
It's like
He looked like he was sleeping.
Yeah.
You can.
He is
you
alive.
Can come out,
He is
like,
alive.
So they brewed. It was the thickest beer I've ever had. It was called Papa Booey. It was a cinnamon.
Oh, that's the one.
the
Papa Booey.
Papa Booey. It was that cinnamon.
The answer made that
Oh
one.
my
That's
God,
the
Oh.
one.
that's
I've
yours?
The answer. Papa Booey.
I've been telling people
Oh
about
my
this
gosh.
beer, dude. Papa Booey.
That-
I
Bear.
do. I
Papa
love that.
Booey.
That was the
beer too.
thickest boy you will ever have. That was the thickest stout I've ever had.
Yeah, it was the consistency of Hershey's syrup.
Like it was thick and it was delicious.
You
And
could count off the seconds between when they tipped the bottle and it came down and it hit your glass. You could just one
That was the
1,000,
thickest
two
dude. I
1,000,
went
three
to a
just-
bottle share at
Kate-
our buddy Alan Wells' house, and I came a little bit late. And Joel,
was
like, I
Lon's.
come in, I came in like the right side. He's like, Joel. It's funny that it happened with you because I can tell a story right here. Like, you come in, and you're like, Joel's just like, you got to try this. Like, it's already all gone, but it's like, try a little bit of this. And I was like, what the? Like, you could taste the cinnamon granules
it's amazing.
in that beer. It was
It's an
the
amazing
thickest thing I ever tried.
That's the thickest boy. So,
sure.
so that's why Richmond's on my list because the answer obviously is delicious. And as much as I make fun of fruit smoothies, especially with like the 450 North and all that, Hayes Boys covers that really well. Shout out to Hayes Boys on Instagram because those things
We'll
are
have him on sometime.
those things are those things are ticking time bombs. If you ship them, they're gonna explode.
Oh yeah.
And the fact that there's this whole segment in Southern California, there's this segment of cholo people who are.
You could say this because
Yeah, I know a few of them, but they're-
You talking about Cholo Vesa, the beer?
no,
Cholo
no, I'm
Vesa?
talking about cholos who are quote unquote into craft beer, but all they drink is fucking fruit smoothies. Like, like that's the reason why like
Mhm.
King's Brewing and like Rancho Cucamonga exists because they release like those fruit smoothies every day, and their clientele is all cholos. Like,
They're yogurt cholos. They're YOLOs.
oh,
But they
Holy
are
shit.
good. I mean, like on a Saturday.
We're off the rails now, folks.
At
We're
like
not-
3 in the
we're not-
afternoon.
and this is what I want. I want
On a
to
hot
say
day?
this. They are delicious. There's absolutely
Yeah,
no
no, you
denying.
can't deny. Yeah, it's like it's
But I
a
only
good
want
tasting.
one.
It's a
But
good
if-
tasting beverage.
But if I want to drink that, I can go to Jamba Juice. That's all I'm saying.
yeah,
You know,
You don't get drunk in Jamba Juice.
if you add
Oh, you
some
probably
vodka,
have-
you won't
You
either.
probably
add
With, you
some
won't either
vodka,
with these. No,
You're
Ruben-
doing Jamba Juice wrong. is all I'm
Ruben-
Yeah.
saying.
Ruben, you're probably bringing your own cup to Jamba Juice. So I know
Yeah.
how
Throw
you
a
work.
little vodka in
Jamba
there.
Juice needs to open up bars, dude. They would fucking
They would
kill.
fucking smash.
Dude, they should start a
They do.
brewery. They would
Alcoholic
start a
Jamba Juice?
brewery.
Can we just start a
Holy-
Jamba
It's called
Juice?
Fat Tuesday.
Let's talk to the people. I'll make a call.
Hey, this is our idea. You can't steal it. We're gonna start a Jamba Juice where you can walk
Dude,
out with
look at-
vodka drink. Dude, tell it.
Dude, vodka drink and like
Natural, like fresh pressed juice and
Vodka
stuff.
drink. That sounds
with
so
vodka in that
fancy.
bitch. But anyway, so the answer is one of them. The answer.
Yeah. Back to that. Yeah. What are we talking about? What are we
Back
talking
to what
about?
we were talking about.
So
if you
Richmond,
call
Virginia,
it
there's
the
answer.
answer,
There's
you're
also
wrong.
what's it called? Aslan's out there, right?
Aslan's out there.
Oh, they're all Aslan.
the Veil.
answer?
The Veil is out there.
Oh,
Like, yeah. So that's why Richmond, Virginia is on my list. I
Triple
wanna do that.
crossing.
What else is there? Is it just those two places or what? Or-
So we have the Veil. We have Aslan.
oh, Veil. Yeah, Veil.
Tri-
is-
triple
dude,
triple
Veil might be
crossing,
sicker.
Licking Hole Creek.
Licking Hole Creek is awesome.
Yep.
What did you?
There's
wait,
some
watch your
really
mouth, dude.
terrific
What'd you-
places that are in the area of Richmond.
And,
Just down the
on
street.
top of that is if you're into craft beer, you know On from the answer because he's one of the nicest
He's
dudes
yeah,
on
exactly.
all social media platforms. The dude is cool as fuck. And the answer is way more than just those juice bombs, which is
Answer's also got a crazy like in the way like Modern Times sometimes is described as having a cult following, but
the answer is number
people
one.
who follow the Answer are like about it. You know what I
They're
mean?
About it.
For sure.
But
I talked to the guy that won a trip that you could go anywhere in the
Adnan.
world.
That's Ruben's buddy, right?
I know, but,
Adnan,
no,
yeah.
but listen, so he went there and he won a trip. You can go anywhere, you know, a trip to go wherever you want.
And in a world, right? Or
And,
something
and he wants to go back to.
And he went back to the
brewery.
Answer, yeah.
And he went back to the
back
brewery.
Answer.
I mean, that
wise man.
explains it.
Wise man.
I mean, that's.
I mean, that
So-
tells
What a
you
guy.
alone how awesome like their culture that they built there for them. I know a lot of people rip on the glasses, and I'm one of those people because I think it's really stupid that people are paying.
It's stupid
an
if you're
exorbitant-
doing. I mean, if you're gonna
They're
and
fine.
spend
exorbitant amount
yeah.
for glassware. Like I can't get rid of glassware fast enough. You know?
We break it
like every
faster
time I
than we
break
collect
a
it.
glass, I get happy because I'm like, sweet.
I get to buy another
one
one.
less brewery
Yeah.
glass. Like, but yeah, so Richmond for me is definitely like one of the places that I gotta go. Like,
Okay.
and then
No,
from-
that's fair.
and
Matt, you went to Matt in the background. You went to Richmond, right?
You can
Oh,
totally hear him.
Oh, he's got an Aslan shirt on.
got
Look at this guy.
an
Flex,
Oh, there you
flexing
go.
on
He's
it.
Yep,
pastry
Aslan.
boy's got
Oh,
a
that's
really
another
He's
one.
giving us
Uh,
he agrees. Richmond, Virginia, dope spot. My
Now let's hear yours, Chris.
my spot that I would want to go to. I'm gonna cheat a little bit because I don't know. I'm gonna cheat a little bit because I'm gonna say Vermont as in general because it has the mecca. I mean, even if it's just a one brewery, whatever city Hill Farmstead is in, I think it's like
That's the city we
Greensboro.
want.
No, it's got some kind of.
Greensboro?
Is that the theme? That there's Greensboro. There's like other Greensboros. I don't think that's it. It could be somewhere else. But
And you've
the
also
place-
got Alchemist, right?
yeah, exactly. So that's what I was gonna say. Is like it's not only just it's not just Hill Farmstead. It's the Alchemist. And then they're also, like I said, if I'm gonna travel to a city, it's also like a lot of places, like people travel to Hill Farmstead from other places. I feel like it's kind of arm's reach to some of the New York stuff. You can get to kind of the Hudson Valley area of New York pretty easily, and there's a bunch of breweries through there. But like just to be able to go to the Mecca, in my opinion, that is Hill Farmstead. I don't know what the name of that city is, but that's where I want
It's
to go.
It's Greensboro Bend.
Okay, so it is Green. Okay, I had that name in my head. I thought it was Greensboro, but
Yep. We were just missing a word. It's the Bend. It's
Bend.
not. It's not the regular Greensboro. It's the bent version of
the
Greensboro. That's where
bent
they are.
over, the bent over version.
Mhm.
No,
Which bent is a great word for Sean Hill, right? That guy's a little different.
Yeah,
he's a little
exactly.
different than everybody.
but goddamn, that dude knows how to make some motherfucking
That's right.
world class beer, dude. So that's probably what I would say. The other city I was gonna say is if I was, I'll just give like my top two real quick. If I was in Hillsboro, and then probably again, I think this is a state. What basically wherever Side Project is. Was it Missouri? It's in Missouri, but what's the
Side
name?
Project
No,
is
St.
in
Louis.
St. Louis.
is
St.
in
Louis.
St.
Okay, yeah. So I'd want to go to
Yeah,
St. Louis because
the gateway to the west.
St. Louis is sick. I think just in itself, I think there's some cool stuff to do there. Side Project. Oh man, I'm brain farting. What's the perennial? Thank you, Matt in the background over there.
Yep.
Perennial.
also
Yeah,
got,
perennial. I mean, you
Second
pretty much
Shift.
that's a go to. I'd probably hit up the wine and cheese place. And then you're also probably, I think you're not that far from Chicago either, because I know a lot of people like St. Louis, like you can kind of mob over to Chicago, not that
It's kind of far to Chicago. From St. Louis to Chicago?
I hit a
that's-
plane.
Oh,
He's
well,
Midwestern,
in our-
right?
yeah.
He knows this.
I'm in the
In
Midwest.
our
yeah.
California brains, they're all like right next to
But
each other.
isn't it like a thing? I feel like people in Chicago got a plug typically for St. Louis. I don't know. I feel like isn't it like pretty close? Like I don't know. For some reason, I think of St. Louis and Chicago as like
I wonder if people.
that's your California privilege.
My guess
I'm-
is it's
I
4 or
was just
5
gonna
hours
say.
at least. That's my guess.
Damn, okay.
Another city that I want to do just because of like the classics. It's Boston, and I want to do Boston not only because of Trillium and Treehouse, but also like the history.
Treehouse in the boonies a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's,
But yeah,
it's
so
a
yeah,
drive
yeah.
away.
But yeah, yeah.
But I want to go visit Boston and
counts.
then hit those.
Yeah,
up.
I agree.
Especially like the history. Like you go there for American history, and then you also go for some.
I heard walking around Boston, like, especially like around Fenway, it's like kind of a dope thing to just be
Yeah, I really
just
wanna
mobbing around that
go
area.
there.
Yeah,
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 any-
just-
any
yeah,
type of walkable- Any type
the
of-
walk signals go quick there. You just got to watch out. It'll say walk, and you'll start walking, and you'll cross one lane of an 8-lane freeway, and it'll be like stop walking, and you'll be like, oh crap! You have to run to get across the street in Boston. It's not exactly a pedestrian friendly city in all places.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
Yeah, that's one of those places, and it's also like I have a personal list of like cities that I feel like I can get my ass kicked in, and Boston is definitely one of those cities
Yeah.
where if I say something wrong at a bar, which I do,
hey, you park your car over there.
yeah. So that's definitely one of
you
those,
you're not drinking Sam Adams.
so that's one of those cities where I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
why
gonna
don't
get
you
my
make
ass
like a tree?
kicked. Yeah.
I'm gonna hit you with a wicked high left hook.
Ribbon, they're just gonna love you. You're gonna be like, I'm from
Uh,
California.
yeah.
Yeah,
make
that's where
friends
they're
anyway.
also
That's the beauty of beer.
filming the Star Wars show is in Boston. The Obi-Wan Kenobi show is being filmed in Boston for whatever reason. There's an Obi-Wan Kenobi Star Wars show being filmed in Boston.
Never
right
heard of
now.
it.
I don't know. what Star Wars is.
Obi-Wan Kenobi for like shows being why in Boston? Like
I have no idea. Maybe because you'll never find a worse hive of scum and villainy except they found it and it's Boston.
Boston.
Jesus Christ.
Boston definitely fits that mold. You could say khakis.
Khaki.
Khakis? Are you saying Khakis or car keys? You don't
My
know in
khakis.
Boston.
That's a good one.
You don't know in Boston.
Hey, where's my khakis?
I heard the best costume for Halloween. This guy had car keys on khakis.
Dude.
Khakis on khakis.
That was his costume.
Cat talk. You're listening to cat
My
talk.
khakis. Holy shit! I always
Well,
like
that's the
what's
1976 Bod Pinto. Was that everybody? Allie, where did you have
Oh,
a
yeah,
bucket
yeah,
list
yeah,
city?
What's your bucket list of beer cities?
Where do you want Chris to take you?
Yeah.
Chris and I have done a lot of fun traveling.
Yeah, I know. I'm jealous.
I know. Yeah, sorry.
I mean, I know. It's like we're It's
I'm
such.
Chris,
thankful for
single.
that.
I'll take you with us. Dude. I'll take you
know
with
what?
me, dude.
I might want to go to the Northwest, like Seattle, Oregon.
Ooh.
You know, again, I feel like we say
Holy
cities, but
Mountains
we're
over
kind
there.
of saying like regions.
Yeah, you
But
can.
you know,
Yeah.
Great Notion, like I mean,
Okay,
I,
Portland,
you know,
Portland,
like
well, Portland would
I mean,
be a fucking
well, that's what I'm
sweet.
saying, kind of
Fucking
Oregon,
sweet.
because I want to go. You know, there's a lot.
You travel, yeah. There's was it like a ferry or something you take from like Portland to Seattle or something? Like,
Portland would be dope as fuck, man. They have so many.
and it's a
good breweries
foodie
out there.
town, and it's affordable.
dude, hit up my boy Sam
and
over at Great
it's-
Notion, dog. Like,
Great
Exactly,
Notion
yeah.
is there.
It's all brunch all the time.
Modern
Although who knows how many of those places will still be open after the pandemic. Hopefully they are.
God, yeah, dude. There's some good. Yeah, there's some good
Modern
food scenes over there.
Times is there.
Well, we need to support how we can.
Great
There's good-
Notion,
the right way.
Cascade,
Cascade, Hair of the Dog.
Hair of the Dog.
Oh damn.
Oh, did I
So-
pick a great place?
Yeah.
And then you
Kinda,
could,
we helped you a
and then you
little
could drive to
bit, you know.
Tillamook and go to DeGard,
Yeah, exactly. That'd be a little day trip action right
and
there.
then you
like-
can go see where the fucking Goonies was filmed.
There's also Boneyard is in Bend, but you'll find Boneyard stuff in Portland, right?
Yeah, and
Dude,
then,
there's a place that I was hearing that's kind of coming up right now. Ruse, Ruse, Ruse. They make some pretty like they're definitely they
area?
dabble in the hazy game for sure. They're like big time
Okay.
hazy kind of boy.
and for that reason,
I haven't heard of them. Holy Mountain. Holy Mountain's in Seattle,
Put some
right? Yeah.
strawberry extract.
But if that's
you'll
like yeah,
it.
if we're talking that general region, like yeah, Holy Mountain would be. I'd go to Seattle. Like I heard Seattle's actually just pretty dope in general, and then like the beer scene there, like they have some
Seattle's
cool.
amazing.
Oh man, I forget the name of it. There's like a
Yeah.
really cool beer bar out there. Too.
Seattle is a great town to drag the dull end of a razor up and down your arm.
There's a tornado in Seattle.
Yeah.
Just-
Oh shit.
the tornado. Yeah,
I knew there was a
San
third one. Yeah, I knew there was a
Francisco's
third
the
one.
original right? And
There
then-
was a
Yeah.
there was a tornado in Seattle. There isn't anymore.
There isn't.
Oh,
I
that's
believe
cool.
it's
We just go to the
closed.
one in.
That bubble.
We just go to the
No
one
one
in
who
San
died,
Diego.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
Oh.
wait. you son of a bitch.
I've been there, and it was a terrific place, and it had the cheapest bottles of cable car that you could get.
How much?
Yeah,
That's
it's
probably
closed.
why they went
it's
out of
done.
business.
It's toast.
How much
It's
were those
permanently
cable
closed.
car bottles? You think? Do you remember?
I think that's one of the few places that let you take them to go too.
What?
Oh
Probably 'cause
shoot! They
nobody knew what
closed.
the fuck
They
that shit
closed
was
in
over
March of this year. That was it.
What?
That was the end. The COVID shutdown. That was it.
Damn.
Motherfuckers.
They
That's
didn't know how
about when.
good
That's
they had
about
it
when.
up
Isn't
there.
that about when the one that shut down here was? Because that shit closed not that long
Uh,
ago. That was
There
right
were plenty of
before.
closed
They
That
hung
was
on.
right
Beginning
before.
of
They hung on for several months.
Good riddance to
Yeah.
the San Diego one, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
It was overrated. I mean, there's too many cool stuff to do.
I
Like,
just thought that
and I heard there was shitty.
It was a
I'm gonna,
tough
get, I'm gonna
crowd.
get pushback. I'm gonna get pushback, but I'm only going off my experiences. This
He
is
had bad service there and stuff.
disclaimer. This is my experiences there. The staff was fucking douchey.
Yeah, but that's
It's a
everybody.
dive bar.
Everybody.
Well, that's par for the
that's what I
course.
heard. A lot of people are dancing.
you-
a lot of
but-
people are dancing on their grave
But,
for sure.
But this is the
They
reason.
weren't the friendliest bar
But this
in
is the
town.
reason why, like, much to my chagrin, like that's why hazies are here, because you cannot survive off your regulars. There's no bar or brewery that can survive off just your regular
because of
folks.
people like us.
You
that are
have to
changing
appeal to the
game.
masses. And unfortunately, Tornado had such a douchey vibe that only like the regulars felt comfortable going there. Like I took my cousin there, and like it was just a fucking bad experience. And I don't want to dance on their grave, but I'm not surprised
You're
that they
dancing on their
closed. I'm not surprised that they're closed. The way they treat people who are not super beer nerds, like it was just a bad experience.
Well, and I
there.
think that's why they kind of had to exit out, because they realized that we're not just here to serve beer to people that want to drink beer. We want to serve beer that the educated people that are driving an hour to consume it and get something that they can't
no, but they
get
had
from
like
another
I'm
place.
telling you, there's some.
Well, I mean, and that's something good that we could talk about right now. I think the gatekeeping in beer it's hardcore. I think there is a lot of people who are super douchey about beer, and I'm like, dude, like, Just let people drink their beer. I
Like
know,
like brewery like like a brewery or the consumer.
like consumers. There's a lot of people who like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about beer. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of snobby people in beer, and to me, that
So
sucks.
how do we what so what do we do? I mean, are we snobby?
No, I think that's the
No.
beautiful thing about like,
Yes.
Fuck you, Joel.
we criticize beer. We don't
Ah.
criticize the people who are drinking
Open up.
beer.
I'm opening up a little
'Cause,
modern.
Because like to me, it's like my best friend doesn't drink beer, but like every time I get him to try a beer, like I'm so excited because I'm like, dude, try this shit. Like,
does he get stoked? Like stuff that's like
no,
bomb,
he
bomb?
hates everything. He hates
You're
everything.
just
Well,
a
you're probably
great
giving him fucking
person.
crispy. You're probably
You
giving you're probably giving him crispy boys
Bro,
all day. Like, have you
I-
had him try a fucking like?
I gave him New Glarus because that's like fucking syrup, and he hated it. Like,
Ruben, you're just waiting for that one beer that's gonna change their mind.
give him a Horace.
well, it's like my mom. Like, I give my mom. My mom's a coffee junkie, so I give her coffee styles, and she's all about it. So
You know what? That's what beer does. Whatever you like, there's
But-
a
By the
niche
way,
for your beer.
by the
and
way, I
we'll
just
find
opened up
beer
a,
that will make
uh,
you like it.
Just
But-
to talk about what we're drinking a little. I'm opening up a Modern Times Monsters Park, aged in what they call it, Charmanahan's sherry finished whiskey barrels. What is the code for that one? They do all their like barrels coated.
What was the name of it again?
Yeah, who are you asking?
Chardonnay. Let's just go.
Chardonnay. Isn't
It's
that a
actually
synonym for
Schmanahan.
something?
It's actually called
Schmanahan.
Schmanahans or something.
Schmanahans.
Yeah,
like
is this you?
like me,
is this you,
like
Joel? Like
Schmanahans.
Joel Schmanahan.
Right here.
Yeah. I don't know. I do not know what that one's code for, honestly.
'Cause they do, like,
Sherry?
ethereal
Sherry is
mound- 'cause they do-
Spanish.
But going back to what I was saying, I think the gatekeeping, like Toronado, is a good example of that. Like, if you didn't know what you wanted by the time you walked up to the bar, like they were
Yeah.
just rude. They were just rude to you.
Yeah, but you should know what you want by the time you walk up the bar. Come on.
Yeah, but if you're exploring craft
Come
beer
on,
for
dude.
the first time, and especially you walk into Toronado,
Yeah.
which has I don't know how many 30 taps, like you want to ask questions. Like, dude, I don't know.
Well, and
what I'm
customer
drinking
service
here.
is important, and maybe the beer tender should pick up on, hey, maybe this person's a newbie, and they wouldn't treat you as the same as you. So again, I mean, I think it comes back to just the whole entity, because you want to be
Well,
inviting to welcome people.
Even in our discussion tonight, if you just were to drop someone into this, they would be like, well, "What are you guys talking about?" Half the time, probably.
Yeah, Ruben, I know.
But that's what I'm saying. I think that's
Like-
one of the things that sucks about beer is just the gatekeeping. Because to me, I get excited when somebody hasn't tried something or someone hasn't looked at something.
Then you're the gatekeeper.
No, because I get excited. I get excited for them to try something. I get excited to if I bring something to a bottle share, it's like, oh, I've never had that. Oh, I'm so happy you're about to try this. Like because
I mean, wouldn't that
Yeah.
be more exposing? I mean, I
Well, no,
guess.
yeah, exactly. But I think you're missing the point. Is what I'm saying is that I hate gatekeeping. I think beer is for everybody. It's for everybody. And if there's a lot of douchey people within beer.
That's like the
Oh,
Midwest.
okay, I see what
Isn't
you're
that like
saying now.
Midwestern cheaters? Aren't they like all gatekeepers for like that shit? And they like.
Well, we're the opposite of that here.
I don't want to lump
We're
the
opening the
entire
gate.
Midwest, but there's a lot.
Yeah,
of
there's a-
douchey,
there's a big
There's
time
a
gate-
lot of douchey trade.
Well,
groups.
think about fucking
There's
450
a-
North
yeah.
and stuff like that. They're all big time gatekeepers, and like that shit's all sucks anyway.
They're
but
just,
it's like,
they're just
yeah.
what's the word I'm looking for? Not hype boys.
Shitlords.
Shitlords, yeah.
You're looking for the word
What
shitlords.
are you talking about,
yes.
shitlords?
They're shitlords. Like to me,
There
it's
are
like,
people who are shitlords.
Like
Yes.
I like those a couple of first Friday shares that we had. Like, I was really into mead for a little bit, so I was so excited just to share mead. You know what I'm like?
Oh, you brought some great meats.
Yeah, it's like I have
You brought
this-
that hazelnut coffee.
that hazelnut
one.
coffee mead that was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah. Meads are great too. That's a whole nother story.
Stranahans. That's what it is.
What is it?
Stranahans. There you go. Hey, I had a bottle of that last year. It was really good.
Or
Single
informing
malt
us.
whiskey. Well, of course, the
That's
guy
a
that's into
that's a
brown water knows
boutique
what it is.
whiskey.
Of course,
Boutique-ish.
this is why we have Matt here.
Yeah, exactly.
He knows the brown barrel.
It's the dude on the couch. Hey, talk to the dude on the couch.
But yeah, I think it's cool to share beer with people. Like to me,
Yeah, that's honestly like I think that's why we're doing
why
this.
we're
and
here.
it's I mean, for me, that was my one of my favorite things about beer when I first was getting into it was like going to a tap room and like drinking like 3 IPAs after work and like just fucking having great conversation with dudes. You know what I mean? Like that was where that's where like I feel like my first real love of that type of stuff really came in for craft beer. It's like, dude, I just would like, you know what I mean? Like you just get this, especially something about drinking beer
I was
after
gonna
work.
say, I
Like,
feel
you
like beer lets you be adventurous. You know, maybe
Yeah.
you're not the most adventurous person, but you're like, hey, I'm gonna try a stout and a
gets
sour.
you just drunk. You don't get too tossed. Depending on how much you have, but you can have like three solid IPAs and like be on a pretty good buzz and like still feeling like you got it under control.
And that's the fun part about beer is just trying new things. Like I really miss the Ballast Point location over in Scripps because like they always had their R&D stuff. So it was just stuff that was out there. Like I remember trying like grapefruit sculpin when it was still an R&D batch. Like
How was it
habanero
then?
sculpin.
Was it?
It was much better in the early stages because I think it
Although-
was like natural grapefruit as opposed
Oh,
to
I
the,
can see
I
that.
will say though that
Concentrate.
beer in general though has gone more of a. I mean, I don't know if experimental, but they'll do more. Breweries will do more different things. Like used to be like the beer industry was all about
Well, the demand's there.
flagship was all about flagship beers.
Yeah.
Oh,
or-
this is the beer. We're making this all day, every day. Like, you know what I mean? Like these 3 beers. These are like
You know what
now
it
it's like
reminds me
now
of
you
is-
shouldn't even do that shit.
I think that's the beautiful thing that
Yeah,
as much as I hate hype boys and hype culture, I think some of that has to be attributed to hype culture because
so you hate yourself or what? No shit,
yeah.
no.
But it's just like it's
iced tea.
if someone is making like a fucking beer with like green tea or whatever the
It's
fuck,
just me.
and if the beer is good,
Dude, you're gonna hate me, dude.
people are gonna fucking go after
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean? Which allows breweries to keep trying shit. Like
Yeah.
But if you can capture a flavor that you wouldn't expect to be in a beer, that's I think what everyone's trying to achieve. That
oh,
know-
I think the greatest example of that is Great Notion Blueberry Muffin.
Dude, we were talking
you're
about that
talking
one.
about all my
Did you try the one?
thoughts for
Yeah.
the Hall of Fame.
Dude, Great Notion
That's a
Blueberry
fruit beer.
Muffin is the
That's a fruit
stupidest
beer.
fucking beer that should never. I don't know how
Have
they
you had
do it.
blueberry muffin?
I did. I didn't enjoy it quite as much.
I'm
as
trying to remember. I feel like I had blueberry muffin, and I can't recall if I've had blueberry muffin. Like,
Blueberry muffin.
I think we
is
have
the
had
shit.
both.
Have you had blueberry
I
muffin?
was thinking they were darker
Joel?
than they are.
Yes, I've had both blueberry and blueberry. I prefer blueberry. Blueberry muffin was is like Jiffy Mix in beer form. Blueberry was modeled off of the cereal. A little,
I like the Jiffy Mix.
So it was-
That's what I
they-
was thinking of.
Dude, it tastes like blueberry muffins. It's
It
stupid.
tastes like those
it
blueberry.
really
muffin.
does. I don't like that. That's definitely
in the little
some
bag.
fucking shit, dude. Like I drink that one, and as a brewer, I'm like, dude. It's like damn. like,
But at the same
but
time,
you
that's
could-
not a beer.
so when they get
You
blue-
could explain how you do it, and I'm like, no, bitch, this is magic.
yeah, no, it's
But
magic.
we're not going to sit around and drink 6 of those. I mean, it's,
If I had 6,
I don't
would
know.
drink
That
them.
one is as far as like some of those like fruited sour ones go. Like I said, that's a different one because like I said, it has that
It's a
bready. It
fruited
has that. It
sour, I
actually has that
know.
muffin quality to it.
It
that
tastes like a muffin.
that one's crazy.
Which blows my mind. Like,
yeah, I was remembering it was a stout, and I was like, no, it's not. I just thought it was. Well, I thought it was like sweet and like thick. You know,
well, blueberry
kind of. That's
muffin
like in my
is,
mind.
is
Like,
a light colored beer. It's like it looks, it just looks like a fruited.
And it has like
Goza
it has that
almost,
like
like-
reddish, the quality
Yeah.
from the from the blueberries and stuff like that.
But and then when you mix it with their double stack,
wonder if it'll be Hall of Fame worthy one day.
I don't know if it's had the reach.
I mean, we can
You're
nominate.
Mr.
You would
Geography.
nominate whatever, whatever we
Yep.
vote in, gets voted in, right? Like,
I mean, if we
we
want to
obviously
vote, like,
there's-
if we had like the most unique thing, I think that's definitely on the unique list. Like I had I forget the brewery, but I had like it might have been Breckenridge. I could be wrong, but I remember I had a stout with Rocky Mountain oysters.
oh, there's
Bull
yeah,
testicles, baby.
there's a thing because there
And?
is.
Yep.
And
Well, what's
how
funny
did
is there's
you like
porters
it?
known with like
Ruben?
oysters. and shit,
It was
but-
okay.
Chris, I want to hear the answer.
I love testes. Like,
Yeah, in and around your mouth.
Actually, that's all I wanted to hear.
Yeah. And we got it. You got that, Zach? You captured that one?
Okay, great. Yeah.
That's what the point.
And
of
it's
this
a
all was.
wrap. No, just kidding.
No, but like,
So I have a question for everyone to answer if they want to. Since we're recording this in early December 2020, so it's almost the end of the year. And I think most people would agree that 2020 has been one of the most awesomely, just stupendous, just incredibly terrible years
is that sarcasm?
for people.
Keep going on. Keep going on. How great was
And so all of us have kept up bottle sharing mostly remotely, but occasionally in person with social distance and all
Outside,
that
and
stuff.
yeah.
But does anyone have a favorite beer of 2020 that springs to mind that they'd like to shout out?
Dude.
Pliny for president.
Ooh.
Oh, there you go.
Dude, that's
That's fucking
it.
good
That's it.
That's a fucking good one.
Dude, I'm
And they had,
probably-
and again, going back to access and the canning, and they
They nailed it.
distributed that. Like, I mean, I saw people on Instagram,
Pliny
and
for
then
president. They're like, everyone's like, this is the president I could stand
It
behind.
was-
you know? Like,
it was hard to get, but also achievable. I
Yeah.
think they did it
Yeah.
right.
no, that was
And so
that
that-
was a good one. That was a
And it
cool
was in the
bright spot.
summertime too. They had the right timing.
Can we all just name 3? Can we go by 3? That way we have like a good.
If you have 3, yeah. Well, so Pliny for President was a double dry hopped version, right?
3 modern times beers because
Modern
dude,
Times
they've
killing it.
been murdering the
Murdering.
fucking
Well, let's
stouts.
each say one. So I said one.
All right.
Joel, what do you say? You brought it up.
If you want to do 3, I do have 3. So my first one would be Double Barrel Mostra Before Dying,
Ooh.
which we've talked about Mostra on this podcast. I don't know if any of us ever mentioned, but
How do you
Mostra
get
for
double
the
Mostra before
uninitiated
dying?
is a
Was
local
that the VIP at
coffee roaster here in San Diego, and that was a variant of a beer that they put on tap at earlier in the year before the lockdown. That was a barrel aged stout from North Park that had Mostra coffee in it.
They
That
had it on
one
tap.
was that?
They had it on tap. Oh,
I did.
shit.
I had it on tap.
If you were here
other-
or watching
the other
That was like a
two-
champagne cork.
The other 2 I would toss out there would be Revolution Straight Jacket, which was not, it was a vintage one, but we did a barley wine tasting earlier in the year before the pandemic started.
Oh yeah,
Was that the
barley
Bigfoot
wine vertical.
vertical?
That was
Revolution
money with
Straight
old
Jacket
money
was
with Old Money Mike.
yeah.
Yeah, the one at Churchill's, right?
Yeah, where we
Yeah, yeah,
where
yeah.
we
We were
blind
there, weren't
taste
we?
tested
Yeah.
a whole bunch
Yeah,
of
we were
barley
there.
wines.
The dude on the couch was there too.
Yep.
Was I there for that? Probably not.
Actually, I
And
don't
then
think you were there for that one.
the third one would be the
Or
wait, were you
Cantillon
hanging with Denver there?
Cuvée
I
de
don't get invites
l'Esperance.
anymore.
No, you might have been there with Denver or something.
No, it's COVID, Ruben.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Sorry. What was the third? Did you say a third one, Joel?
The third one is the Cantillon Cuvée de l'Esperance. That was the Brews for New Waves specialty
Oh.
Cantillon beer.
Dude,
Dang.
fuck you, Joel.
Those are my 3. Those are my 3 for 2020.
That's why he's like, no, I have 3. Let me go
yeah,
first.
So you said the double Mostra before dying was they had that on tap at some point. Was that
They
how you
had it at a festival.
Oh, okay,
okay.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
All right, Chris, you want to go? Or you want me to go?
You go, Ruben. I gotta think.
All right,
I
here
gotta
we go,
think a little
baby.
bit.
Here we go. So mine, I've been a little bit away from the hype chasing. I haven't been buying a lot of beers this year. I think I've bought like maybe 1 or 2 Bottle Logic releases.
Have
Like,
you been drinking your cellar? Or
Yeah,
just-
I've been dwindling down. I'm down to probably like 100 bottles. So
Oh.
we're working our way down, baby. We're working our way down. But in what I did have this year, the first one that comes to mind, and it's the Poolside by Modern Times.
You're such a crispy boy.
No, it's not even a crispy boy. It's a fucking
What is it?
sugar mess. It's one of those lactose sours.
Oh, really? Oh, well,
has
that's
a-
surprising. Oh, I thought for some reason I just assumed it was a fucking.
I
lager.
forget all the adjuncts in it, but it has like lime, it has pineapple, it has lactose sugar in there, and it's like one of those
Sounds
kettle
like an Averday.
sours with a bunch of fucking things in there.
Now you're speaking my language.
And it's fucking and it was delicious.
okay.
And I enjoyed it poolside. I was hanging out with my friends Micah and Jackie, and we were drinking those bitches poolside.
Hell yeah.
That was maybe it's because the time that I had with them, because this was like I think this is before COVID hit. But yeah, that beer fucked. That beer was really really good. My second one, and this is probably my favorite of the year, is the Bierstadt and Enegren. Again, I'm probably butchering those names.
Oh, you gave us one. I think.
Bierstadt Lagerhaus.
Yeah,
That was a great beer.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
American. What was it called? American American. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that name, but their collab that they released this year was fire, and it's a crispy boy. I know Matt hates it, but it's fucking delicious. It was a great beer, and Bierstadt to me, I still contend that they're the best lager makers in the country. Like when I went there,
They probably are. Yeah.
when I went to Denver, like I asked the staff at True Brewing, that black metal brewery. I asked the people at Black Project, the people at Great Divide. I asked them all, where's the one place that they'd recommend? I always ask the staff because they know better than anyone visiting, and they all pointed to Bierstadt. And I was there for 5 days, and I was there 4 days out of those 5 days. I was eating and drinking there.
Damn.
The food was great.
Nice.
The beer was phenomenal. Like, and the attention to detail that they put into serving you your glass is amazing. Like, there's no DGM.
They give you those. Yeah, they give you those proper slow pour pills.
Yeah, there's no dirty glass mafia happening at Bierstadt. They pay attention to their shit. That place is phenomenal. But yeah, that's my favorite. That's my favorite beer of the year, probably. And the last one, it's not actually a beer; it's a cider.
Ooh.
That blueberry cider that we had earlier this year, I believe Joel was there. It was again my friend Micah's birthday. He did that beer pairing thing, beer and food pairing. Like his friends are really.
Which
great
is another
cook.
great thing if you have craft
About
beer
Tr- with
friends.
Travis?
and
Yeah,
you-
that was
Oh,
Micah's
dude,
birthday.
Travis
That
is
was one of the
the
last
man.
things.
Travis,
Yeah.
Travis is the fucking man. He made these fucking mushrooms that were the best thing.
Well,
I've
tell
ever
us what
had.
happened. So it was a birthday party.
So yeah, so it was Micah's birthday, and
A beer
Micah,
friend.
Yeah, Micah's the good homie. So he has like a small group of people, and we have 3 courses, I believe we had 3 or 4 courses that they
Yeah.
paired with beer. And Travis, which is one of the most eccentric dudes, but he's so awesome.
Yeah,
he's
a
one
nice-
of a kind. He's a one of a kind dude.
Oh yeah.
But he's a hell of a cook, and so he does like the pairings. Where they kind of choose the beers and they choose the pairings,
And it's
we-
fancy food.
and we also
it's
had
gourmet.
a bottle share that day. Like we're drinking beer.
Yeah, so you're
in
feeling good.
between courses. And I forget who brought it, but they brought a blueberry cider from Superstition. And
Oh, yeah,
is
spaceship
that
box.
Blueberry cider. Keep
Is that
going.
the
Had to be
one-
spaceship box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
yes.
yes,
Oh yeah. I've had.
yes.
Yeah, okay, I've had
and
that.
previously it was bottled, but they brought it in cans. And
What?
yeah, dude, it was delicious. That was I was big.
Wow.
Well, I'm glad you said the cider thing because I feel like I want to break the rules too. And now I'm trying to think if it
okay.
was actually 2020 or not. But actually, the dude on the couch over here might be able to help me. I had a fucking key lime pie mead from Pips.
Ooh.
That
Ooh.
fuck.
It
Was that,
knocked
was that a 19?
Chris' socks
was that
off.
a 19?
That
But
sounds
you
nuts.
had it in 2020? Question mark.
I'm gonna still gonna talk
That's
about it.
fine.
I'm still
Yeah,
gonna
it's
talk about it.
okay.
This is a
Yeah,
podcast,
yeah.
and we're gonna talk about some shit. This was though. I'm just gonna talk about it anyway. I don't like key lime pie. We'll start there. It's like, you know what I mean? Who likes key lime pie? It's way overrated. Overrated
Oh,
dessert.
but you like alcohol that tastes like key lime pie.
Well, I
Anyways.
didn't think so. That's I walked into. So it's like one of those things. I
You
think
will learn one
I think
day.
expectations are like a lot about like what
Well,
you're.
you had. I don't like key lime pie. so
Yeah,
you
exactly.
had
It's like- I was
very
like,
low-
like, I don't know,
When
like-
you have low
like,
expectations, it will blow your mind.
Plus, just lime anything. It's like when have you had like some kind of lime? Like besides like
A
when you're having like
margarita?
besides when you're having like a
Dude,
like
I'm
a
Mexican. We
yeah,
put
I know,
lime
yeah, I know.
in everything.
I don't say it like, but I'm saying like for his craft beer,
aware,
I'm
I
saying like
love
yeah,
it.
like a lime in a Corona or like any good lager, yeah, it's brilliant. But it's like if you have like a lime
any-
something, it's like it's not
Yes.
usually like my it doesn't tickle my fancy typically. You know what I mean? It's like okay, that's like a cool it's a cool thing. I'll try it, and so I was just got the same kind of thing. I was tried it, and then it was like a bland. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I couldn't believe how good it was, and the kind of thing. Like I said, like I'm not a big key lime pie kind of guy, but anyway, that one's kind of cheating. I was like, we'll call that a half one. I think like I said, I'm about to name like probably at least 2 Modern Times beers because. I mean, I like a lot of stuff. I like, I love wild ales. I love sour beers. But dude, I'm kind of a sucker
Curious what
for
you're
some
gonna
of the.
say, 'cause
I think that Chaos Grid LOL edition.
Oh, yeah.
Which one do you think? Which one were you gonna say?
they kind of
What?
stole 2020.
Almond
Damn, Joy.
Almond Joy.
That I might name 3.
Forgot about that.
The
I don't know.
Almond
I
Joy
might have
edition.
liked LOL though. LOL was like this nutty.
4 crowlers of joy.
Dude, we did actually.
We did.
Joy was
get-
the shit. Chaos Grid Joy was ridiculous.
That
so,
must have been just too much of a good thing. It was just we had.
Oh, man, that one was so good. Like I said, this is a hard one to do. LOL was up there for me though because it was like peanut butter, but also almondy and like it was really good. And there's another one that Matt's probably not gonna. Oh, you actually know it. Barrel Age Monsters Park Vanilla. That
In
was
that blue can?
Yeah, the blue
Oh
can.
man, the blue and gold can. That if you could get a lot, and if you couldn't,
I
you
would
didn't get any?
fucking put my dick in it. Actually, I wanted to put his dick in
It's
me.
kind of a small
No.
hole.
Yeah.
Because I hope
It's a
you
small,
visualize.
yeah.
It's
It wouldn't
worth
work.
the
Small
it's
mouth
worth the
can.
cuts.
So this is our first episode, but I feel like we should get a
Dude.
soundboard with just,
Yeah.
with just like that.
Yeah.
That beer's so good. I want
We need some stings.
I want to put a stick in me.
It's so good.
I
I
want
wanna
it to.
put
I would melt it. I want to ice skate it on the winter, and then when it melts, I'll swim in it. Like,
I feel like we need to get a soundboard.
dude, that beer was so good. That was like adult chocolate milk in a way. Is the way I kind of describe that.
Okay, so I think the first 6 months of 2020, Modern Times just
And the
ruled
last
it.
6 months too, like because they had
They
coconut,
dominated.
dude, coconut macaroon Monsters Park. Forget about it.
Oh man, I
Dude.
don't know.
At the
Dude.
risk of sounding like a hipster, I'm gonna sound like a hipster. So back, I think it was. When was their first public league? Was that 2015, Joel?
Which one?
The Modern Times League. When was their first public league? Was it 2015?
Oh, you mean because I think the first league memberships were sold via Kickstarter, I believe.
Yeah, but like the first public
Um,
one.
Because there's
it-
7 years. They just
It might have been later than 2015, but it was. I think it was at least 2 years after they started, and they started on my 30th birthday, which was 20.
way to age yourself, dude.
Damn. dude.
Crap, I don't remember what year. What
Damn.
year did I turn
It might have
30?
been okay. Anyways,
Oh,
regardless.
2013. So I think you're right. 2015. Yeah, I think you're right.
So it might have been 2015, but I remember telling everybody in 2015, Modern Times is the best brewery in San Diego. They were
You
brewing.
were saying that in 2015.
I was saying that in 2015.
Show me the receipts.
Dude, I got receipts. I got receipts for that. I was telling.
He's got the receipts.
I was telling.
Okay, I'll believe you.
Okay, and at this time, so Modern Time was fairly new, right? But they were brewing, and when you judge a brewery, at least in my opinion, when you judge a brewery, you gotta judge them by how many styles that are attempting and how well they're doing it. And in 2015, Modern Times was doing what they're doing now. They're trying things, like they were just doing random beers. But on top of that, like Monsters Park non-barrel aged, I don't think they've released it since that year. Non-barrel aged was fucking fire. That was
Chris,
such a good beer.
don't you think Modern Times just makes really great base beers?
They make great beer, and that's what I was
Yeah.
saying. And that's what I was
I mean,
saying.
I'm agreeing
And then they
Yeah,
do, then
yeah.
they blend that shit, like the Chaos Grid shit I was just talking about.
And-
That's like a blend of like 5 different base stouts.
And I don't think they've done
So
it.
good.
I don't think they've done it in a couple years. But City of the Dead was like their export stout, is I think what they called it, which was like a coffee stout that they released in Bombers, was fucking phenomenal. Their IPAs were fucking great,
Dude, their IPAs have been trash lately, though. So
I was just
fucking
gonna say,
straight
my-
up, like,
my
it's like a weird,
feelers
it's a
went
weird
out.
thing. 'Cause
Oh,
2015.
fluff. Hey, Ruben, I
let's-
looked up that beer that we had at Micah's or the cider. I'm sorry, that we had at Micah's birthday, and the one I ticked was called Superstation. Is that the one you were talking about? Because that was not a blueberry one; it was a little different. But if there was a spaceship box one went there, that's
Joel will
that,
remember.
that was the blueberry one. But I didn't tick it, so I might have left before. it got
You're right.
opened
You're
if
right.
that
It
one
was,
got
it was
opened.
Superstation. I believe it was cherries.
But it was like a cherry ginger
You
wine.
fucking one of your 3 favorite beers, and you didn't remember what
Hey.
it was. Like
No,
a whole different fruit, dude.
That's
Like
why
I
Joel
remembered
knows
having this, and I was like,
Cherries
"What
are
was
a
in it?" And I
stone
looked it
fruit.
up. That's why I do that.
but I actually believe you because I've had Spaceship or whatever it's Spaceship Box or whatever. Like, and that one was all right, but
We should have told
but yeah.
everyone that
Dude, we
Joel's
did-
omniscient and he just knows.
well, he's like a library of ticks over here. Like he knows
just-
like what he
yeah,
could tell
no.
you in 2015 on
the
April
ultimate
1st. Like
digger.
he's the all-knowing beer man.
There's people who chase.
oh yeah, you got it's the can, just like you said. Okay, yeah.
There's people who
True.
chase whales, and there's
Talk about
people who
receipts,
chase-
dude.
Joel, do you still
Joel's
tick all
got
your
the
beers?
receipts,
He's got
dude,
the receipts,
for
dude.
sure.
But
yeah,
so
I
going
need to
back,
catch up.
I call that
2020
shit-
is
I call that
fast
shit in
fading and ready to
2015.
catch
I'm like,
up.
Modern Times is the best brewery in San Diego.
And what do you think now?
They're the best brewery. in
Okay,
San
yeah,
Diego.
they're for sure the best.
That's
They
the-
are.
North
I mean,
Park.
is there any?
North Park.
North Park is
I-
number 2
North
for me
Park.
because I think that
I-
North Park's just
North
not
Park
as
doesn't
prolific.
release as much.
They have, I think North Park, like Death Before Dying Macaroons, is the best beer ever to come out of San Diego, probably. But
We're gonna fight.
that's
We're
one
gonna
of the best.
fight.
Yeah, dude.
Has North- let me ask you this, has North Park
Fucking
Ever had
But-
an infection problem ever?
Who?
Period.
North
North
Park's never.
Park.
They've had like 5
Yeah,
years.
but how many barrel? Like I feel like they've released 5.
I mean,
I
I
can
like
count the number
them.
of barrel aged beers on one hand.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Comparative Modern Times.
They're great. They just
Lot of
they're just not
averages.
quite like Modern Times has put out so many bangers. It's like fuck, dude. Like come on, like
It's like
They
when
have.
something,
I agree
when
with you, like,
something,
they're
when
up
something
there.
is mediocre, you're like, oh, come on, Modern Time, you made a shit
Yeah.
beer. Even though it's like a good. The only reason
Their
I will
shit beers
push
are better
back,
than other people.
the only reason I will pull back on Joel's what he said is because North Park Brewing Company has a beer called Party Cup. It is
Oh,
a
yeah.
crispy.
Dude, that's my favorite lager.
It
That
is
was
a
the- that was
crispy
it.
boy.
It's the
That, if
best
you
Okay,
let me get my
okay,
third
okay.
beer,
Mosaic.
I was gonna say,
Pause.
dude,
Pause.
party,
Let's
dude,
put a pause on this. Let's put a pause.
Party
on
Cup
this.
was.
Let me finish what I'm saying.
Fuck you, bro.
North Park Beer has a fucking crispy boy, which is one of my favorite styles of beer, a fucking lager. They're using Mosaic, which is one of my fucking favorite hops, and it's a shit beer.
No, it's the shit beer.
It's a shit beer. That beer sucks.
Wait, Party Cup sucks.
Party Cup sucks.
What?
Party Cup sucks.
All right, I'm taking. All right, now, all right, dude. All right, now we're gonna fucking fight. Now we're gonna fucking fight, dude.
I
He's
just
just being
wanna
How does
know
it
contrarian.
suck? Are you
the
kidding
They
me?
have
Like,
one of my favorite hops, top two, because it's fucking.
how does it suck? Like,
You
what do you
just
mean?
said
Like,
it was a great beer, and then you.
yeah, I
No,
thought
no,
we
I
were
said
wrong.
it's a great style. I said it's a great style. They're brewing one of my favorite styles. They're brewing with one of my favorite hops, and they're making a terrible beer.
So you just don't like it. You have bad
It's
taste.
a bad beer. It's not a good beer. And for
Oh,
them
dude,
to
I
You're
love
lying.
Party Cup.
And for them
Party
to
Cup's so
make it
good.
a style of
How
beer
can
that I
you look at
love
that red
with
Solo
a hop
cup
that
with
I
a smile?
love and not make it good, I'm out. And for that reason, I am out.
Ooh.
I don't even.
I know what I'm
That beer was
nominating for
really
the Hall
good.
of Fame.
That's why I'm
But
here,
I'm
baby.
not, but
That's
that's the
why I'm
thing is-
here.
But I'm also not a big, in general, I'm not the biggest of lager fans, and I can see that being not like, it's not a traditional, it's not super crispy,
Again,
right?
wait.
It reminds me of more of an IPA in a way.
Again,
I
North
guess,
Park
but-
has like a handful of good beers.
So
Yeah.
you would
That's
call
the-
it
I mean,
like the
that's their
Joe Rogan
best-
of beers, then. You
That's-
know, he's just this terrible, tasteless thing that's no good. That
Wait,
nobody
you don't like
likes.
it either? Is that
No, I'm
what?
just kidding.
Wait, no.
And you're calling, I feel
I
like
feel
that was a
like-
subtle shot to Joe Rogan too, which is like,
That's what
I'm not gonna
just-
stand. I'm not gonna stand for that either. Like,
I'm here
no,
to drop.
just kidding, no.
I'm here to drop
Wait,
truth
am-
bombs, and I just dropped that one on you guys.
You're
Yeah,
crazy.
you
We're
don't
gonna
like
have to
it
drink that one
either,
together.
Joel?
We'll see what.
You don't
like,
like
No,
Party Cup?
I do like it. I do like it. I do like Party
Don't let
Cup.
Ruben
I think it's
influence you.
delicious.
Don't let me.
I never had.
influence you.
I never had Wizard
Yeah,
Wizard
don't-
Cup. Wizard
I'll
Cup was.
There's
protect
so
you.
many languages in this world. The only language I speak is facts.
Yeah, right. Your facts. Ruben, they call it Ruben facts. Hashtag Ruben facts.
Is that English?
With an asterisk
or-
that just goes down to the
That's
bottom. It
what-
says opinions.
But yeah, so that's why North Park is out for me. They ruined one of my favorite hops and one of my favorite styles of beer, and they didn't do it right.
That's a big
You
statement.
know who's doing it right? Who's brewing one of my favorite styles, a crispy boy with one of my favorite hops?
What?
Fucking Virgin and fucking Clever Kiwi.
Oh yeah,
Nelson Hop fucking lager.
They slap for that. Sure.
Virgin hasn't come up yet, but they're
What do you think? How do you
taken
think? I mean,
North
have you had a
County
lot
by
of?
storm.
Because you were talking. I mean, this is kind of just talking lagers over here. Because you talk about Bierstadt Lager House, you talk about Engren, but what do you think about Suarez? You know what I mean? Like Palatine Pills. What's the other one? Palatine Pills is their big crispy boy, but there's they had a couple that are pretty. I mean, all
From
their
Suarez?
yeah. There's. I mean, they swing on everything. You know
I
what I mean?
think Suarez is very good, but goddamn that nut.
That, whoa.
Karma
They also
for all
have
you
Crispy
said
Little.
about
Is that what you're
North
talking about?
Park Brewing.
Crispy
I don't
Little?
know.
I had Suarez. Hal was generous enough to bless me with one of those
Oh,
Palatine
yeah.
pills.
We're gonna have to get Hal up in here too.
But yeah, so Hal blessed me with that,
Water break.
and while I did enjoy it,
COVID break,
it was like
yeah.
I'm drinking this. It was,
I feel
it
like,
was-
have you
it
ever
was-
had-
It was like water.
Have you? I mean, that's a good thing in a way, right?
I
But
still
you wouldn't
want,
put flavor.
I still want flavor. If I'm drinking a crispy boy,
I feel like you gotta have them. I mean, have you ever had any of them like back? Like, I feel like what would be a sweet tasting is trying like Palatine Pills, Engren, Bierstadt. That would be a sweet. Like, everyone does like, oh, let's do a barrel aged vanilla. Like some kind of let's do some kind of crazy tasting. But it's like, dude, let's do a Pilsner tasting. You know what I mean? Like back to back.
Music to
dude.
my ears, yeah.
I'm in. I'm
Let's
in
do
for the
it.
Krispies. We'll make
Unless
bring
it's
Matt.
Mosaic.
Matt loves the Krispies.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have them pick the ones for us.
These are all
yeah.
big. Dude, we're all gonna be.
Oh
in
wait, I
our-
have one. Maya was gonna
Oh
say.
yeah. So,
Oh,
oh
yeah.
yeah. Sorry.
Hello,
Yeah. Yeah.
back
All right.
to
So, yeah. Yeah.
me.
Sorry. Yeah. All right.
We
All right. We'll
so
finish right.
derailed.
All right.
It's-
Yeah. Dude.
Well,
That's beautiful.
well,
All right. So we'll get back to our
so
what's your
it's-
top three over here, Allie.
So it's not a crispy boy, but I'm gonna say Pizza Port Permanent Vacate. It's an
Yeah.
IPA.
Oh,
that was a
that
really
was
good
one.
one.
Okay.
That was a good
Yeah,
beer.
that was a really good one.
Oh yeah.
That was a good beer.
Yeah, that was
Allie's
a great
dropping
beer.
facts. I
Man.
think she learned my language.
Oh.
Well, anytime you drop pizza port around here,
How do you think we
it's-
communicate?
Yeah.
We speak facts.
And then the other one, you know what? The best thing about being married to a beer guy is that if I don't remember the beer that I liked, I can just reference my husband. And so it's so great. So there's this other one, a barley wine from Modern
Oh,
Times.
yeah.
Alter the York?
Yep.
Yes, that's it.
Well, as funny as the story is, we were
ribbon.
gonna open up this beer.
I had
was
to
like,
text Chris and ask
I
him
was
to
like, we were
confirm.
opening a beer. It's like, I want a stout. I want a pastry stout
Well,
or
no,
something.
this was post
Or pre-
Joy. Modern Times.
Oh, okay, yeah. It was
So,
postponed.
Matt on the couch had said in the audience
Matt
that
on
we
the
had
couch.
bought.
The
Chris
dude
and
on
I
the
had
couch, dude
bought
on the couch.
4
He's like
crowlers.
that neighbor in Home Improvement.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
over the fence.
I was thinking of the.
So how many ounces of that Joy do you think? I mean, we probably had like over 100 ounces in like a month.
Oh, easily, because we got like 4 32-ounce crowlers plus like 2 or 3 bottles.
I love
something.
that Allie is fucking hardcore because she says
Yeah.
fucking barley wine. She's like,
yeah, but
we're
this
not
is
fucking
but this
playing.
is she said no,
No,
no, but
so
no,
this is the
hold
story.
on. Yeah, what I was gonna say is like she was like, I want like a Joy, and I was like, we've been crushing our Joys, and there was like not that many left, and I was like, all right, let's pump the brakes on the Joys for a second. Like I got this barley wine. He's like, you're gonna try to pawn off some fucking barley wine, like just like you're gonna try to pawn this like crap. I was like, whoa,
No, I
this
was
is
not
this is
having
not
it.
like any barley wine. This is the pastry, like you would like. This is like a stout basically. It might as well be a fucking stout or a pastry stout. Yeah.
Rocky Road edition.
Rocky, yeah, this was the Rocky, Alter
That
Look
was
or
it.
Rocky Road edition.
Matt on the
And,
couch,
yeah,
Rocky
that one
Road.
definitely, like I think that definitely changed.
So
her
then
mind.
Chris poured it, and I was like, oh, this is the barley wine.
Oh, word!
You're
like,
talking about-
Barley wine, word.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
reminds-
big worm.
That
big
reminds
bird.
me of one of my
was
favorite
really good.
stories of Allie because I got to tell the story 'cause
Uh-oh.
it was fucking great. We were having that share at fucking Pizza Port,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Kona Warrior was on
Oh,
draft.
The
that's
barrel
too
aged
The
much.
barrel
one.
aged,
Oh,
the barrel aged
dude.
Kona Warrior
Okay,
was on draft.
Too much of a good thing, and that was gonna come up eventually.
Allie's-
Talk about beer of like 2018 or something.
Dude.
Jesus Christ!
Allie slammed like fucking 8 of those motherfuckers. We're talking
Did
about
we-
13,
That-
I think we-
ounces.
Did we get him
of-
to give us a
that
growler
was
of it?
Crowler
no,
of it, too.
Yeah, I
the
think this
next day
I
I
think-
realized I had a crowler, and that was probably the worst hangover I've ever had.
Dude, she slammed like 7 or 8
Happily.
of
Did
the
that beer
13
fuck?
ounce
Did that
boards.
beer fuck or
Ribbon?
what?
Like a what was it, like
Ribbon?
14%?
Yeah, it was probably
Ruben,
like
I
12
had
or
like-
yeah,
12,
12,
okay.
yeah,
I
it was
don't know.
12
like
or 14.
2
Something-
before
it was
I
something,
saw
yeah.
you.
It was
That's
above the 10s for sure.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and, dude, and
that's a beer you can only get
Do
2
you remember
of.
that? Do you remember that beer?
Limit 2.
Dude, that beer was phenomenal. It was,
It
so,
was the most
the best
underrated beer of all time, potentially, dude.
Potentially.
Joel, did you
Well,
have that?
That was
beer?
like macaroons before dying level of like.
Wait, I
what
asked Joel. Did Joel have it?
Did you have Barrel Aged
Uh,
Kona Warrior?
Which
At
beer?
Carlsbad Pizza
Barrel
Port?
Aged Kona Warrior from Pizza Port?
Koa Warrior.
Koa Warrior. My bad.
I think I did. I'll have to double check though. I have to
Check
go
the
into my
Untapped.
untapped repository. It sounds
But
like
my
the one I
favorite
had.
thing that night was, speaking of how hardcore Allie is, anytime somebody showed up for the share, she's like, "Hey, did you try Koa Warrior?" And you're like, "No, I
I'll
haven't."
get one with
I
you.
did not have
I'll
it.
go get one with you. So by the end
I
of the
did-
night,
like a
she
giant- I did
literally
not have it,
slammed
no.
like 7 or 8 of those.
Dude,
Dude,
we were about that beer. Dude, we went to we would go to Pizza Port a lot anyway, but like we would go like 2 times a week at least. Like
If that bad boy was in cans, you guys would be lining up around
I
the
would
street.
shotgun that.
Dude, we should have.
Around the street.
Damn, dude. And then they brought. Remember they like brought like a.
Sorry,
I don't
we
wanna
found like
I
a
had
keg
too
of
much
it or
of a good
something.
thing.
Like,
I don't want to name drop. Let's keep the name dropping out of it. But someone who's very influential in the beer game got us a crowler of that for Allie.
for sure.
and all the like 10 glasses I shouldn't have consumed in
Dude,
one
that
sitting.
beer was ridiculous. Like I said, like death before macaroons level of like.
That beer was so good, man. That was.
And well, you know what? And it's crazy
Yes.
because I think that was a secret cake. Like people weren't like it was
people,
kind of
well, people who went to Pizza Port at that that location, people weren't seeking out those type of beers there, and then like you
I was
like
gonna
at
say the
regular
clientele
Koa
is very
Pizza Port,
casual.
Carlsbad.
yeah, exactly, very families and shit, like,
just eating pizza.
and
which
even
is-
if you've had regular Koa Warrior, that beer's like.
I think
but-
it's a great beer.
No, it's a good beer. This like, but it's good, but the barrel aged
barrel
something.
aged.
It was like, whoa.
that beer had me wrapped around its finger.
that was
No
one. So that I'm just reiterating how hardcore Allie can be with these fucking big ABV beers because she was fucking
Yeah,
slamming.
I showed her the way. You know what I'm saying? So you had
So I earned my right to this podcast.
way.
Yeah.
She was slamming those bitches.
So you said Altar of the Oak Lord,
And permanent vacay.
Permanent Vacation. You have a third, or we don't have
Didn't I say my first one was? I said.
I thought Permanent
one.
Vacation was your first one.
Permanent Vacation, Rock
Yeah.
Road.
I thought it was
Warriors
Permanent Vacay was the
2018,
first
so
one.
it's a while ago now. I think it was 18. Was
I
it?
could have sworn I said one. I'll think of another one off the
Think
top
of
of
it.
my
I
head.
don't know. I don't think I even had 3. So it's like
Yeah.
that was kind of on the spot and stuff.
You know what? It's like I'm enjoying doing this right now because we're just talking about beer, you know, and I love beer. But like, this is also really rad because we're spaced out a little bit right here, you know, enough to hopefully not.
Yeah, we're in the barn. I would say the one thing I was gonna say, like, I think we probably will start wrapping up here. But the one thing I wanted to say, I forgot to say at the top of the thing is we're actually coming live, or we're not coming live this time, but we're recording in the barn. We got our boy Zach Benavides over here on the producing over here. I just got to shout him out and stuff for letting us use this.
YouTube? What's the YouTube and the Instagram for?
Yeah, so I guess we'll start giving. So our Instagram is
If you've
first
listened to this
pod-
point, you're
yeah,
interested.
It's
First Sip Pod.
yeah, it's I think it's the is it. Oh yeah, you said Instagram. So it's first.
Uh,
It's the number one.
The number one
ST
First Sip,
Sip.
Pod.
Yeah, so first sip pod, the number one ST Sip pod, and then also we're gonna start soon enough. We'll start streaming this on Twitch, which you can find us at the First Sip, and then we have a YouTube. We have like a YouTube. We are on Twitch. We are fucking on Twitch,
We're on
right
Twitch.
now, dude. We're twitching it.
That sounded
But also
weird.
a shout out to.
But but more importantly, what I want to say
Twitching.
is that we are recording in the barn. You'll probably be able to see from some of the visuals on the cameras and stuff, like super cool setup. Like this is just it just sets the tone right here. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, we got friends on the
So-
couch, on the phone, on the tables.
so definitely stoked to
so what's the YouTube channel, Zach?
This is Apogee Creatives Studios and Barn Time.
a barn. Okay,
Barn Time podcast is the YouTube channel.
okay. So yeah, for this first one,
Barn
yeah,
Time
barn
Podcast.
time the Barn Time podcast. Just,
Yarr!
it's all thing.
Like the
we're gonna have
Barn
this.
Time
This is our
Pirates,
first.
you
Did I mention
know?
this is our first podcast?
We'll
Yeah,
put it
we're-
in the show notes.
Yeah,
We'll
put it in the show notes. You're
Show
gonna-
notes.
Follow us on Instagram, First Sip Pod. We're gonna fucking blast this shit out. The official podcast of the Beer Nation, which we'll have links there as well. I
Yeah,
just
put
wanna
us on in the background while you're dusting your house, while you're vacuuming, while you're doing chores and stuff, folding laundry. Put us on and let us regale you with all of our drop all our knowledge on you.
You were kind of breaking up a little bit on the last one.
I think you said that when you're folding your
Yeah.
laundry, you should be listening to us and whatever
Yes.
other tasks
Okay, yes,
you're
yeah,
doing.
exactly. Yeah, this is a good little way to pass the time. And I think, going forward, like you said, this is,
Yeah, have
the
a
idea
beer.
is that, this kind of takes place around, we're sharing bottles here right now. You know what I mean? We're not sharing glasses, obviously, but, we're sharing bottles. We're
Sharing thoughts.
sharing thoughts, and if you want to
And our
partake with us,
hearts.
we'll have some live streaming stuff available coming up, and we'll see where the community takes us and stuff. We want to include
We're gonna
our
keep doing
followers. and
it.
people- yeah,
If you
exactly.
guys like it,
yeah, we're
cool.
probably talking to nobody, but you know what? Fuck it, like we're here.
Hey, I do that all the time. It's been great, but what I'm saying is like this is the most beautiful thing about beer is the community. I think that's the message.
absolutely.
That
I
wanna-
agree, Ruben.
Like if we're gonna end this now, this is one of the things that I want to end it with. The community is the best thing about beer. It's like
100%.
because
Yeah.
even though like we became friends because of beer, like we fucking had brunch. We hang out and just
Yeah, we
shoot-
talk
shoot the
about
shit.
personal stuff in our lives, and we
Yeah.
want to make each other better. I mean,
Mhm.
we'll get you buzzed,
Yeah.
but I want to make sure you're a happy person.
Yeah, and then hanging out with Joel. Joel is like one of the nicest dudes. Like if somebody says something bad about Joel, I'm not.
They're the asshole.
I'm not talking to that person
Yeah,
ever again.
yeah.
His
Like,
Instagram is literally
I would
beer
stab a
with
fool for
pleasant
Joel.
strangers.
Yeah, like I'm never talking to that person. I'm like, okay, you're stupid. I'm out. Like, and then,
But the thing is, you would never hear that though.
yeah, you'll never hear that about Joel. But he's one of those people. There's like a list of like 7 people, and this is a weird tangent. But I'm like, if
We'll end
somebody,
on this. We'll end on this tangent here.
but if someone says something wrong about these 7 people, like I don't believe you at all.
Yeah.
I don't believe you at all. Like.
Ruben, some people call those standards, and I think that's appropriate.
No, but if-
you have
but if-
like
but if-
levels of what
No,
you
no, but
say about
but
people.
if you guys meet somebody and like that guy Ruben's an asshole, you're like, yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see where you're
Yeah.
coming from. But
I
yeah,
can see
he's
that.
really not. He's a really
Does
good
he
guy.
like craft beer?
like yeah,
Yeah.
I can see.
I
that.
might come around.
But Joel's one of those people that if anybody said, I'm like, I don't believe you. Like,
Yeah.
No.
I haven't even met Joel,
Yeah,
Oh, I
right.
think you might have actually.
That's
when
very
you see each
true.
other in person, you might recognize. I think you might have met him, but
I think-
that's
I
the
think we
beautiful
have.
thing. It's like community
time.
is the best thing about beer because
Yeah.
there's so many things that talking about beer, talking about the bullshit adjuncts, talking about all of this is great, but just hanging out with people and catching up is the most thing. And I think that's one of the things I miss most that COVID has affected is being able to
yeah, tell me about it.
being able to hug people. Like that is such a it's so weird that I
Yeah,
can't
touch is so
I'll give you a big
important.
hug, buddy.
because you remember you walk into a bottle share and
I'm a hugger, dude. I, mean,
you
I know you. I
hug
know you. We're
everybody.
dude. We're huggers, dude.
We're
I
huggers.
mean, yeah. I think that's
we
why
used to
we.
see each other weekly, and it was like a family reunion every Tuesday.
sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
like,
and,
hey!
and as you leave the bottle share, like you kind of get annoyed at the people who Irish goodbye because
Yeah, you're like, oh, what?
We're like,
Like,
where the fuck did blah 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 go? It's like, but you go around the room. And it's
But
like, hey guys,
we
I'm
all are
leaving, you
Irish
hug
goodbye
everybody.
sometimes.
yeah, hug it out.
Yeah, so that's
It
one of the
happens.
things. I love the community, and that's one of the things that I miss is just being able to hug.
And I
everybody.
think that's what
that's-
we want with the people that are listening is that sit around, hang out, have a beer. I mean, maybe you're doing whatever you're doing to pass your time, but just remember we're friends having fun, and we want you to be one of our friends.
I think that's a beautiful way to close it out. That's exactly what I think we're about, and we're gonna be.
Cheers!
Cheers.
Now to the last sip.
Cheers, Beer Nation.
Cheers.
Cheers.
First Sip podcast.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, for Ali, Ruben, and Joel, and this is Chris. This is the person.